But with that said, we're back, everybody. It's episode number 157 of My Cup of Tea. We have so many episodes, even back from the grave. We got last episodes up. It's not under the live tab. It is under the official uploads because we got a copyright strike. So please support us in this trying time by leaving a like. Would be very appreciative.
Yeah, guys, leave a like, subscribe. We had a great conversation last week about Last of Us Episode 5. I don't know about you, Nathan. I think this season, I'm having a blast. I'm loving it. I think this is a phenomenal season of television. I'm having a great time. I think every episode gets better and better. I think I said episode 4, the Dina Ellie centric, episode when she sings to her was my favorite episode of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I thought episode 2 was great. And then 4 was great. And then 5 was really good. Yeah, we talked about a lot last week, so watch that episode, guys. We broke that down a lot. And then this episode, holy shit. Like, this might be my new favorite episode of the entire series so far, both seasons. Which is just outstanding work. I think prior to this, my favorite episode from last season was episode 8. How many episodes are there? I think there was 9 episodes last season.
8 or 9. I think there was 9 because I cried at all the odd number ones.
Yeah, but I liked episode 8, the Ellie versus the cannibals with the crazy people. Yeah. I love that episode so much. And then episode 9, of course, was finale. I think the finale was so well done as well. Ashley Johnson coming in. So both of those episodes mean a lot to me. But that season overall was just, I think, again, I said this before we started the podcast, or before the start of the season. I thought episode 1, or season 1, sorry, was one of the rare seasons to which I gave like a 10 out of 10 for. Like I can't find any flaws with last. I loved it. And this season's getting up there. It's so, I'm having a different experience because I love part 2 so much. But even somebody who loves part 2 so much, I can recognize that's not like the sacred text that a lot of people online seem to think it is whenever there's a change in the show versus the game. And because of that, I'm loving a lot of the changes here. And this episode, again, is just like a 10 out of 10 for me. We finally got the flashbacks all in one episode. And just that notion of getting the flashbacks all one episode, getting it over and done with, better than the game. I will say that. I think the game, again, I played the game 10 plus times, 7 plus times, whatever. The flashbacks are really good. Some of them are great. They do take away the pacing at times. Like the pacing of the part 2 is one of the only small criticisms I'm gonna give it. Like it's not the most well-paced game of all time for me. But the flashbacks are really foundational to the game. I know some people who really did not like the flashbacks because they were so slow, but I really liked what they were doing with it. The emotional, breath that it gave Ellie's arc throughout the game was very good. But again, I just liked getting it all in one batch here to elevate, or I guess, to elevate what came before and to elevate what is to come as well, especially in this finale, which we got a preview of, which we'll talk about. But overall, for me, this episode just worked wonders, dude. Ellie and Joel's characterizations were fantastic, as they have been all season. People are like, "Oh, finally I can see Ellie and Joel this episode." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Anyways, and yeah, this episode meant a lot to me. And we got the porch scene, which we'll dive into. I literally, Nathan, I'm an idiot. I'm not an idiot, but I wrote down notes, and I was taking notes for the episode, and I was like, I found myself just regurgitating and writing down every line from the porch scene into my notes so I can talk about it on the episode here. So
yeah, listen, I've been there. I think I did that in the early Marvel TV show days. I was like, what is grief? But yeah, man, I adore this episode. This is my favorite of the series. This is I think I was with you. My favorite was the singing to Dina and the bite episode of the season between them. That was my favorite episode thus far until now, because they just have such a masterclass of acting caliber displayed here. I think back to when it was going around that Pedro was first cast as Reed. And it was like, oh, what a safe choice, what boring choice. And I'm watching this man like, what is wrong with you people? Like, I've always believed. And then I see this, and I'm just like, this masterclass of a modern actor we have.
Yeah, he can do it all. He can do it all. And remember that, I can't remember the past that much, but like, wasn't there like chaos in the streets when Joel was cast as, when Pedro was cast as Joel? I remember before this, it was like, I remember Mahershala Ali was like rumored to be Joel for a minute there. It was like for a hot minute. And now I was like, okay, that's different, but I'm cool with that. I like Mahershala. I can see the vision there.
That would be fascinating.
But then it was Pedro, and I'm like, okay, Pedro's excellent as well. He's excellent in everything.
I think what happened was I think after Pedro was cast, then whenever he got another big role somewhere, it was like, oh, he's in everything. He's Last of Us and The Mandalorian and a third option that I can't name right now.
Yeah, I think it was like The Mandalorian was like a big one. I forget where he got casted first. Last of Us or Mando. Mando came out in 2019.
I'm sure. Yeah, Mando was early on, 2019. I didn't realize because I heard in the interview that we watched just before this that they were starting to plot out season 1 before the second game came out.
Yeah. Because I remember the second game had so much delays, and it finally came out in 2020. And that's when, during COVID, that's when Craig and Neil were breaking down season 1 of the show, which comes out in 2023, I think, was the first season. So yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, Craig and Neil have been working together for like at this point 5 years, because then they started writing the show in season 1 of the show in 2020 or 2019, which is crazy. So yeah. Nathan and I are a bit late to this podcast here because we were talking, but also we watched that interview with Craig, Neil, Pedro, Bella, and also in the, I guess, is it called Making Of? I don't even know. But after the episode talk, they brought out Haley, which I liked. Haley Gross was the co-writer of The Last of Us Part 2.
Right on.
I like her a lot. I watched a lot of her interviews for The Last of Us Part 2, especially after the game came out. YouTube was a cesspool of scum and villainy for that game. And I liked it when what
still is,
yeah. I liked it when she came onto other people's podcasts, and they like the good podcasts, you know what I mean? And they talked about her thoughts on the game. Because I watched a lot of Neo interviews. I was like, let me hear what Haley thinks. She also wrote the game as well, guys. And she's a very thoughtful person, and I'm glad she got to co-write this episode as well. Kind of like bringing Neo and her back together after doing part 2 together. Because it also just brought me back, because I'm like, oh my god, there was so much hate online for Last of Us Part 2, and now like there's so much hate for the show versus the game. It's very funny. I was listening to part of the Neil interview today, where he also alluded to the next 2 Naughty Dog games. Intergalactic is coming out very soon. With Tati Gabrielle in Space Bounty Hunter. Hopefully 2026, but it's looking like 2027, to be honest.
We'll play GTA next year in the meantime.
I know GTA will time me over, and Kingdom Hearts 4 could come out next year as well. Could.
When's the last trailer you got?
Literally 3 years
5 years ago.
3
How
years
many?
ago. 3. It came out in like the first trailer was like April 2022, and we were like, "Oh wow, we're getting a trailer! Kingdom Hearts 4 is on the horizon." 3 years with nothing.
That trailer threw me for such a loop, because I was like, "Oh my god, it looks so real, like anime face, but everything else is so like real textures." I'm like, "What the hell?"
Yeah. They finally revealed like some images last week, because they canceled a mobile game for Kingdom Hearts, but they also revealed some new images for Kingdom Hearts 4. Like, hey guys, we're sorry about the cancellation for this other game, but we're working hard on Kingdom Hearts 4. We hope to share more with you soon. I'm like, can soon be this year, please. But anyways, I forget what I was saying. But yeah, I loved Last of Us Part 2, and I love the making of stuff at the end of this episode so much. But let's dive into this episode, which is a lot. This is an emotionally heavy episode. And again, I just love how they, brought back all the flashbacks into one and then elevated it piece by piece. And the thing I want to say before we start the podcast, or before I start the breakdown here, is that I love how every single flashback reinforces or just touches upon Joel's decision and how it impacted Ellie. Along with that, of course, there's that, permeating notion of like parenthood, parentage, and how Joel was parenting Ellie and how they're coming together, that love and the loss of love all in one episode. It makes it all more impactful and deep instead of just going to flashback gameplay, like all like getting a big breath of emotion in one episode. I think was just much more powerful. It worked wonders for me here.
I agree, man.
But yeah, this opening scene, dude, instantly I was like, wow. Like the first second, I'm like, wow, we're doing this. What the fuck? This is great.
I was in here for a second. I was like, who are these kids? And I'm like, is this before everything went down? And then I'm thinking for a second. I'm like, oh, this is Tommy and Joel. And I mixed them up for a second. I thought Tommy was the older one for some reason.
As soon as I see like a young kid and another young boy, I'm like, Tommy Joel, like instantly. Tommy Joel flashback. What the hell am I watching?
1983. Tommy Joel.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I was already shocked. Like, okay, wow, we're doing this. This is interesting. Like, what are we gonna learn from this scene here? And they're so nervous. And they're so nervous about the father. Tommy says like, I'm gonna get the belt, and Joel is like, no, I'm gonna get the belt. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Let me handle it. So we cut to Joel sitting on the kitchen table. Door opens. Policeman walks in, and I'm like, their dad is a cop? Wow, okay, that's interesting. And then he sits down. Fucking Tony Dalton? Wow!
I'm never upset to see this man in anything.
Never! He's one of the best. He's fantastic. He's having a great
I was perk up. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. He's fantastic. I love when actors like have a great run no matter like how old they are. Like he's been playing Lalo for like Lalo Salamanca was his like latest big role. That was in Better Call Saul. He was playing a rival to Gus Fring. So if anybody's watching this has not watched Better Call Saul, please fix that immediately. It's on Netflix, I think, all the seasons now.
So good, so intimidating.
One of the best, shows of all time. I think Nathan and I are top 10, top 5, whatever.
I think we're on the same page. We like it more than Breaking Bad.
At points, yeah. That final season, I think, cemented it for me. I was like, oh wow, that final season is just aces.
Well, I mean, like I actually like Jimmy. Like I don't think I'm supposed to like Walt at all.
You're not supposed to, but I think
not 100%. But I like Jesse. Walt. I think Jesse's my favorite character of the universe. But
oh wow, I think in the entire universe, I might have to go. Rhea Seehorn's character.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck is her name? Better Call Saul. Saul's girlfriend.
Blondie.
Wow, I'm forgetting her name. That's gonna kill me now. But I think she was fantastic in that final season as well. Yeah. Saul, girlfriend, Better Call Saul. Kim. Kim Wexler. But yeah, Tony Dalton sits down. He's a fantastic antagonist. He was a little bit in Hawkeye and Daredevil as well. Kind of wasted.
White Lotus, I think.
No.
Is he?
No.
Is that a different Hispanic man?
I'm trying to think. Like, is there a Hispanic man in White Lotus?
I think so.
I don't know. He would be great in White Lotus or like a White Lotus. What's it called? Who done it? Like Knives Out type. I think. Was he in Poker Face at all? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe. But either way, Poker Face.
I haven't seen White Lotus either.
Yeah, great show, White Lotus. Last season was hit and miss. But anyways, Tony Dalton is here, and he sits down such like a big, imposing presence. And what I love about this scene, I'm just absorbing it, and it starts off intense and intimidating. He initially asked Joel, like, you're gonna tell me what happened, and Joel straight up just lies to him. Joel tells Tony Dalton, which we learned his name is Javier, by the way. Javier Miller. Because it said J Miller. I'm like, what did the J stand for?
Joel Senior.
Right? I was like, it can't be Joel Senior. Joel's not a junior. That'd be weird as fuck if Joel was a junior. Joel,
but
JJ. JJ. But because I think I learned his name was Javier through Tony Dalton posting the image online saying
Yeah, I
like
shared in the
Javier.
spoiler chat.
Yeah,
I don't know if you
which is
saw it
cool.
prior, but
Yeah. I think I saw that from Tony Dalton's Instagram or Twitter. But anyways, Joel straight up lies. He says, I was selling drugs and there was a fight and then, whatever. And Javier's like, nope, you're lying. It was Tommy, the one selling drugs. And what I can piece together from both of their, perspectives here, Tommy was selling drugs to somebody. Tommy was getting ripped off. Joel saw what was happening, came in, beat up the guy that was ripping off Tommy for selling drugs, or who was trying to buy drugs. And they got into a fight. Police came. They came back and left or whatever. So that was kind of the story. And then Joel was going to take the fall for Tommy there, selling drugs, buying drugs, whatever. And they seem to have a past of like hitting, or at least Javier has a past of like hitting Tommy, hitting Joel, and that's like the big threatening presence of it all. Like, is he going to hit Tommy? Is he going to hit Joel? What I love about the scene is that like it starts off very scary, like where Javier's like, you know what, he grabs some beers, he sits down, and he tells Joel like his story when he was 10
when
about
I was
him when I was a boy.
Sorry,
the white rabbit's in the room, or the white rabbit in the snowstorm. And he tells Joel a story about how when he was 10, when he was close to Joel's age, a little bit younger, he stole a candy bar from a grocery store. Yeah. Father found out. Father had him return it immediately and apologize. They drive home. Before he even get out of the car, and he does this. He's like, boom. Yeah. My old man hits me in the mouth and like I think broke his jaw, he said, something like that.
Broke his jaw. They had to wire it shut for 2 months.
2 months, which is insane. Just like it's so uncomfortable to think about. But when he does this, I love what Joel's actor does. He just looks at the fist. Like he's not even looking at Tony Dalton. He's just looking at the fist.
Yeah. And the sound design of that impact is so off-putting that you are expecting this that way it's about to escalate.
Exactly.
As I'm sure Joel is as well.
Joel is 1,000%, man. Like he's expecting it to escalate, but then it takes a turn, right? It goes from this like super threatening scene. The guy's getting beer. It's like it's guy about to interrogate and beat up Joel, but no, it gets more and more vulnerable. Because then Joel's like, "Okay, you're telling me this. Why are you telling me this? Like, doesn't this what's it called? If you're telling me this, why do you do it? Let me see if I go. Yeah, If you know what it feels like, then why?" And Javier says, "I've hit you guys in the past. I'm not gonna lie," he says, "but never like that. Maybe I go too far, but I don't know. I'm doing a little bit better than my father did." And just tearing up a little bit. I'm like taken aback by this. I'm like sitting there at the edge of my seat, like, oh my god, like Tony Dalton bringing so much emotional complexity to this. He's kind of like rationalized. I like what Craig said in the podcast as well at the end of the episode, where he says like he's trying to rationalize his anger, rationalize his aggression, and he says like, yeah, I might go too far sometimes, but I don't know, I'm doing a little bit better than what my father did. I never want to hit you guys like that, like what happened to me. So it's this like cycle, this passing down of like love in his own warped way, of parenting in his own complex kind of way here. And again, it starts off with the quote, or it ends off with the quote, like, "I'm doing a little bit better than my father did." And I love that. And I love how it reflects what Joel's doing, trying to do better than what his father did. And we'll see at the end of the episode here how it affects, Ellie. Because then he says, "When it's your turn, I hope you do a little bit better than me," to Joel. And I'm just like, oh man, Neo is a genius when it comes to like certain lines carrying just so much weight.
Yeah.
We'll get to it later in the episode, but the whole I swore of it all. But like everything is just so impactful. And that scene, I was just like, wow, like every scene, every opening scene in this entire series has just been peak. when they do like these opening sequences. The last 3 weeks now, we've gotten incredible opening sequences. I've been so enthralled by it.
Yeah, man, it is such a beautiful progression of the relationship, and to also know the perspective of Joel being a father, even though he ends up more the father of a daughters, he still never made it to he never went to a line like that, like his father or his grandfather. He was all completely nurturing to Sarah and to Ellie, though in the time of Ellie, it is clear that he's reaching a violent level to others, not his kin, but in the name of them. But that is at the detriment of affecting families by taking those lives.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like what you mentioned there, though. Like as you're talking, I'm like, you're right. In my notes, I was talking about how Joel's, taking in of the line. I hope you do a little bit better than me from his father. I'm taking that in, and automatically, I'm just thinking of Joel and Ellie, and how Joel, especially because the episode's all about them, and how Joel is, doing better as a father. So much love, so much happiness he's giving to Ellie. It's a complete 180 to like the fear and possibly trauma that he was experiencing with his own father at times. But you're right, though. He did have another daughter before this. He had Sarah. And I think, we don't get a glimpse of that. We don't see a lot of that. We only get a glimpse in the prologue to this show, the first episode. But I think even in that first episode, we see a lot of love and care. I think it's a phenomenal first episode, by the way, from season 1. And when we get there, we get like from memory, it's just like, is it Sarah's birthday that day? Or is Joel's birthday?
Joel's birthday.
It's Joel's birthday. Sarah's giving him a watch.
I had to remember that Sarah gave him the watch because there was a shot, I think, when he was reaching into the fridge to get the beer. I was like, does Joel's father's watch, is that come Joel's watch? But
does it? Oh no, it does. It can't be. Yeah, duh.
But also, side note, like every time I see like a situation where like an adult is giving their child like a stern talking to, and then they offer up like the can of beer, I'm all, like, I always imagine if I'm in that scenario, I'm like, this is a test, right? I shouldn't drink this.
Yeah, that is a test. Like, yeah, should I be doing this? Very funny. But yeah, like we see Joel being a loving father to his daughter Sarah, and unfortunately, we can't envision what would have happened if all else the world had survived. But yeah,
sorry, thinking about the scene of just Joel being so protective of Tommy gives an interesting perspective to experiencing Tommy throughout both seasons. I think it's clear that Tommy, just as well as Joel, had a good dynamic with Sarah in the time before everything went under.
Yes.
And then I see Tommy being a parent to his own child, and he's still obviously very young, but it's very nurturing, very caring. But also, like later on in this episode, when Ellie's coming home after like the burn, like Tommy's like nurturing her up to the stairs, being very gentle, very caring. I think that essence was definitely imparted on him. After the experience of what they experienced with their father, they want to be more compassionate. And I think about the perspective of Joel being so protective of Tommy in this youth, that then when I think back to season 1, when Joel is talking with Tommy when they first meet up, telling him about Ellie, and then Joel breaks down in front of Tommy, that like how that perspective must have felt.
Yeah, it's still one of my favorite scenes in the entire series as well. Like he tells Tommy in season 1, it's like, I still have dreams. I still see her in my dreams or something like that. And it's just like, it's so raw and heartbreaking. And I remember loving that because I remember that scene is the biggest point for me where I'm like, oh, this Joel is different than the game in a great way. Not as like not better or worse, just different. Because this Joel was much more emotionally vulnerable, much more emotionally complex than the game at that point, because in the game, he was just giving him over to Tommy, and you kind of got to there's a lot of subtext to it. Not as much subtext in the show, for better and for worse. But I think it works here where Joel's just emotionally breaking down why he needs to give Ellie to Tommy. But yeah, it's like reflecting on that to this. With this, we see Tommy. Tommy idolizes Joel. Joel was his hero, and that was talked about in the after the show, in the after show elements where they say like Joel has a savior complex going all the way back to when he was a kid, having that savior hero complex. And when he fails that role that he has like embodied himself with, it kind of breaks him down. And we see that happened with the loss of Sarah. His time literally froze for him. So he kind of like wants to do everything he can to give Ellie, his new daughter, the best happiness that he can possibly give her, that he couldn't give to Sarah, and then he tried helping out with Tommy, and we see it with Ellie. But yeah, I just love that Tommy element of it all too, and yeah, that happened at the end of the episode too with Tommy and his own kid, which is so impactful too. But as you mentioned, yeah, Tommy's bringing Ellie up, or 1 year, or we flash all the way back to, we flash all the way back to 5 years. I think 5 years later or earlier, when they initially get to Jackson. It didn't say like the time span.
It's I don't know if we ever went back to like the perspective of after the Fireflies, but I thought it was like 2 months in. No. We get there, and then Joel's like, "I've been here for 2 months." So we're 2 months into being at Jackson. Ellie is turning 15.
She turned 15. So I think this is 5 years. I think she's 20 in part 2, and it kind of lines up. 5 years. So then we go 1 year time jump when she's 17, or 116, and then 17,
and then 2 years more, so 19, to 19, and then 9 months.
9 months. So she's 20-ish.
Turning 20.
Turning 20. 16 going on 17. It's a Sound of Music reference, guys. Great movie. I love it. But I think my first musical I ever watched was Sound of Music. Oh. I'm old. No, but
you're probably just like, hey, your parents put something on.
Right? Yeah, I really liked it. My mom loved that movie growing up. So yeah, I like the opening sequence here. Joel's going to Seth, asking Seth for some parts. He gives him some Legos, which is very funny.
I know about
it. I'm like, Nathan would love this.
I did. I was like, the polybag.
Get old Seth here. Which people still think Seth had a redemption arc in this season, and people were upset about that in episode 2 or something. I'm like, Seth didn't have, or 3. Seth didn't have a redemption arc, right? Like he's egging Ellie's anger on just because he gives her a gun and like keeps it a secret that she's leaving doesn't mean that he's a good person still. Anyway,
but Evan, I also heard that they were erasing Dina's gayness.
Oh yeah, right. People
within the same episode.
People watch the show with like one eye and one ear open. It's astonishing.
Because HBO is anti-gay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, watch all their shows.
Watch season 1, episode 3.
Right. So yeah, he asks Seth for some parts, etc. We get a sense that Seth is gonna be the one to help build Ellie's cake, as well as giving Joel supplies to make a guitar.
I love
that's a joke. They call it a guitar.
They call us here a guitar. I was like, okay, that's so wow! It punched me in the face. That was good.
Right. So yeah, he gives him like an actual bone at the end too. He's like, I know you have a lot of these. So then we cut to like Joel, and I love seeing the process here of Joel actually going through the motions and building this guitar for Ellie. It was really sweet and really well shot.
There is a beautiful balance to the parallel of Joel the Destroyer and Joel the Craftsman, in a sense.
Great point. Yeah.
Which, like, obviously he wants the peaceful life to create and have expression. He literally goes to therapy. Of course, he's exploring expression, but like the world is so awful that it forces him into that, backs him into a corner in essence at times for survival, but then he takes the wrong lessons from being backed in the corner and starts pushing outward, such as the elements of the Fireflies.
Exactly, yeah. And this dichotomy is what makes this episode so perfect in my eyes. all with the things that we're seeing here, Joel being a great father, this is still after the atrocity that he committed, the massacre that he committed at Salt Lake City, Utah, the hospital. But we know this, and we're still seeing like that loving nature of Joel. And it just elevates the heartbreaking nature of his death so much. Like this episode does a lot to elevate like how heartbreaking that sequence was. Now that we watch this, we can never watch episode 2 the same again. And that was the beauty of the game too, where you're watching on the flashbacks, and then you go to play the game again, and you're just like, man, even after you know why Abby did everything, even after you know why Joel did everything, it just still hits the same or hits different. Because this character who did all this bad is showcasing a lot of love. Like you're saying, this craftsman building for the sake of someone else's happiness. It was so beautiful, so touching. So he makes the whole moth emblem on the guitar, which has been part of Ellie's drawings. We'll get to that, what it means. And yeah, I thought it was really cool. You know, he's building it. Tommy comes home again. Tommy's consoling Ellie, and she's burned her arm. Why did she burn her arm? Because she's trying to hide the scar, the bite that's been on her arm ever since she got bit. A showcase of how that she is immune. And I like it. She's coming off of painkillers. I think this is the beginning of Bella just being unbelievable in this episode, conveying so much emotional childhood, like a childlike performance here. In
she's
each
so
age.
good, so good at falling into those designated ages. Like I'm watching her at playing 15. And I'm like, she looks like she's small enough to do that. And then I watch her at 17 or 19, and I'm like, yeah, she looks like she's that. Like it just, we caught her at a perfect time in life or something. Like this is
I agree.
very well.
I've been loving her performance all season long, despite the haters. And I think this episode is just another example of how masterful of an actor she is, because she's just embodying, like you said, this 15-year-old, the craziness, eating the cake, being so ditzy on painkillers, but then having so much commanding presence when she's 19, like you swore, when the anger starts to rile up. It's so good.
There were elements both like when she was on the painkillers and also like on the porch scene. Some of the delivery she did, I swear she sounded like almost one for one like Ashley Johnson, which
insane.
Was like wow.
I completely agree, especially in the dinosaur scene too. Like going in the flashback, like she sounded like a young, younger Ellie, also sounding just like Ashley Johnson as well. It was wild to me, because again, I love the porch scene so much. I'm like, this is, first of all, 1-to-1 at points, and then it was a lot. It was beautiful. But yeah, I love how tender this episode was, but how tender this scene is when Joel's like consoling her, like, it's okay, baby girl, it's okay. Like, she's on painkillers, she's hurting because of her arm. And then he says here, Nathan, and this is after I'm cutting past the song, which we'll go back to in a second, but like he says, I understand. I understand why you did it, basically, with the whole arm thing. Like, I understand why you did it, wanted to be normal. But again, this is the cornerstone of this flashback, is, although it's very heartwarming with, Joel singing Future Days, which was phenomenal. Pedro did a great job there. Love that scene so much. They're eating cake. She's just putting her hand in the cake. It's so good. But the arm is a symbol of Joel's choice, because it's a symbol of, hey, Ellie is immune. Hey, she's immune, and she's trying to hide it. She's trying to hide her immunity. And in one case, if you dig deeper, she's trying to hide the fact that she is immune, the fact that she's alive. She's hiding it from herself. And I think deeper on, as you get into the other flashbacks, she can't hide it from herself any longer. And the dam basically breaks with the Eugene scene. So it's extremely heartwarming, and it's just extremely happy, but at the same time, it's like she's hiding something from herself. And although she's probably not even thinking it, later on, it's going to creep back up again. But yeah, this whole scene was just so loving. This was just so happy. And it gets even happier with the next flashback. But do you have anything else about this hilarious painkillers and cake scene and song?
Happy birthday, Eli.
Yes. Damn it, Seth, you idiot.
Joe was so upset because he had everything teed up perfectly, and he was like, "Fucking Seth, fuck."
We were just talking about Across the Spider-Verse, and it reminds me of the whole cake scene in that movie.
What did it say?
Yeah.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah. It was something. It was like you're trying to congratulate, his father for being a, sergeant or whatever, captain.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. It didn't turn out the right way.
But yeah, no, I love the scene. I love that when he turns around to see Ellie just ham fisting the cake, he instantly like cracks up. Like it's just we're really like at the best. That is the best year probably they've had.
I think the next scene is the best year probably. The Act 2 when they were 16, when she's 16.
That is it, right. That is the next year. Yeah, and then Neil said as much. This that ends up being the happiest they'll ever be together.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that hurts.
Yeah. I miss my 16-year-old days, not having to worry about anything. Great stuff.
I was inventing a show called Time Blizzard that would get made soon.
Yeah, 16, and then 10 years later. So yeah, I don't have that much notes for this sequence because I was just so much in love with it.
Oh yeah,
I do. It's so brilliant.
No. I was enthralled. I legit forgot until Ellie was taking like the last second step to the reveal. I forgot there was the dinosaur because I haven't played in so long.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I was like at the last second, I was like, "Are there dinosaurs?" And then I see the giant ass T-Rex, and I'm like, "Oh, of course!" Also, did you know that's also a thing that you can apparently skip is climbing it?
You can skip climbing it?
If you don't try, you could just walk past.
That's wild.
Like that in the guitar. I'm like, these have to be mandatory.
Ellie gets on top of it just like the game, and she says, I'm standing on top of a fucking dinosaur.
Motherfucking dinosaur. Yeah, so did Neil.
That sounded just like Ellie in the game. It was wild. I'm like, did they just audio like sync this up? Like this sounds crazy. No water on this one because when she jumps off, I think she can do like a cannonball. I think.
Maybe I'm not sure.
In the game, yeah, this one, she just walks off. But it was so cute and so cool.
Yeah, there's a museum. Yeah, we don't fall out, break your ass. We'll take you to it.
Go check your eye out. I do like it when she's walking up to it. She's talking about like, hey, I want to go on patrol soon. She's like, nah. And she's like, well, Jesse's going on patrol and he's only, he's like 16, 17. And then Joel's like, you're talking about this Jesse guy a lot, Are you two more than friends? You like him basically? And he just laughs. Like I love the laugh. It's like, no, Dad, I'm gay, but I'm not gonna tell you that right now. It's very funny.
I especially love that he's like, I have a knack for sensing these sort of things.
It's so good because he's like, yeah, sure, you're off the mark there, buddy. I'm on the wrong side of the road. Right. It was hilarious.
That's such good stuff because it was like equally wholesome.
So wholesome
as they're going through.
So that's Jesse's scene was hilarious. Watching the behind the scenes, talking about, Pedro talking about the scene, they did shoot a longer version of this Space Museum sequence. And some of the behind the scenes extras, we do see Ellie in like that cowboy hat that she has in the game. There's one sequence in the game where she has like a cowboy hat. She puts the hat on like a dinosaur bone replica thing. Awesome. It's a very cool scene. That scene was skipped in the final episode, but it was in the behind the scenes extras. People are like, I saw this one guy. People on Twitter are, their own breed. But they're like, oh, this show should have cut out some of the should have kept the port scene at the end of the series and then make it a longer Space Museum sequence. I'm like, guys, which one's more important? Ellie putting a hat on or the port scene? Come on.
It's just Giraffe 2.0 or the new.
Right? Like, okay, that seems great in the game. It's not going to change thematically anything.
We just got a dinosaur.
Right? Exactly.
But so I like that they go. I love the detail of the stars in the hallway. I like that how they made it. It was just rhinestones on velvet.
Yeah, but say they said like rhinestones on some kind of like was it Velcro, something like that.
Black velvet,
Yeah.
which like sucks in all the light, so like you, unless you like get the shimmer of the rhinestones, you can't actually like sense the hallway. It's so dark,
Hmm.
which just makes it feel more like stars in the universe, which is really cool.
For sure. And again, the production design, I keep saying it every single week, but the production design of this museum, the way they replicated the dinosaur outside and everything inside is again one to one from the game. They even recreated that entire from scratch, the galaxy space model diorama thing that Ellie was making. That Ellie even says like, "Oh wow, this thing moves." It's like they made it. They made it move straight from production of this TV show. It was really
I,
cool.
I love Joel's idea. Someone must have greased it.
Yeah, like Joel did so much prep work for this. Like, oh, this is a guy you want, for all your birthdays because he goes above and beyond. Like, this is insane.
He really does. I love it so much. I love that detail. Watching him move, but getting to the space capsule, inside is wonderful. But just before, when Joel's like, oh, you gotta pick a helmet, and he knows Ellie to a T that he like, here's a rock, go smash some glass.
Yeah, it goes fast in glass, and I love that portion in the game where you get to choose which helmet you want to take.
Yeah.
I think every game I played there, I chose a different helmet. But yeah, she picks the helmet out and she goes inside the capsule, which again they recreated. And Neil was saying how they like had,
Two
different people to
two
crane. Yeah,
crews,
to what?
two crane crews, like two
Yeah,
separate crews to operate both of them to get the lighting just right. This was the scene that he was saying that he was showing the development team of season one before the game came out. He queued up the PlayStation for that scene, and they were like, oh, "You have to make it exactly like it is in the game within the show."
yeah.
And
Craig was like, yeah, I want this scene exactly how it is in the game, and I'm
yeah,
like, great eye, because this is one of the absolute best scenes, not only in part two, but in the series in general,
yeah,
where Ellie is locked in. She puts the helmet on. Joel gives her the radio of the liftoff sequence,
mm-hmm.
and Ellie closes her eyes. Joel's watching her like a caring, loving father, and she embraces uh, this immersive like experience. It kind of reminds me of what they did in The Last of Us Left Behind DLC, where Ellie is playing a game with um,
Riley.
Riley, yeah, and she's playing like something knives, I think Danger Knives or whatever.
Yeah, it was a Mortal Kombat
Yeah,
clone. Yeah.
and they're fighting it, and then Riley's like, "Close your eyes, Ellie." And Ellie like closes her eyes, and she like gets like this immersive feeling in the game where the sound design riles up, and it's like she's actually like fighting. It's so cool. I think they used that sequence and replicated it in part two, where in the game Ellie is so like immersed, and the sound effects, the colors, the sound, the visuals, all like dial in and lock in, and it had like this beautifully suffocating like feeling, like she's actually going to space. And the
Yeah,
show replicated that perfectly with the lighting, the sound design, all capturing that immersive experience for Ellie. It was so cool. I love how they did it.
absolutely. It's just like how I felt in my first IMAX movie.
First time,
I'm not exaggerating. I felt like that, but
what was the first IMAX movie? Do you know?
yeah, I went to go see.
Avengers.
I went to go see Pacific Rim in IMAX 3D. Uh, and
2013.
yeah, 2013. It's July. Very immersive. My first experience, and I was like, oh my god, I can't watch anything else other than things this way. And the 3D was genuinely immersive before 3D kind of fell off. Before James came back. But,
James Cameron.
right. But yeah, no, this sequence was I adored it. I love the countdown sequence and Joel just watching, and then at the end, he was asking like, "Dad, do good," and when she confirms how amazing it was, he just like looks ahead in contentment, and I see the glimmer of the tear that fell on Pedro, and I just, oh man, they did so well. They
It's
did so
so
well in
perfect.
adapting. Like, there's so many key moments between Joel and Ellie from this game to adapt and execute correctly and I think they've hit the nail on the head every single time.
I agree, and it was so beautiful, so touching, and again, this whole episode, I just gotta say, directed perfectly by Neil Druckmann.
Yeah.
Probably the best directed episode of the season, in my opinion. It was just so it elevated and heightened all the emotional sequences. Some of the shots are just really, really stunning, especially if we get to the Eugene stuff here. But again, there also is a hint of sadness, there is in every single flashback here. As they're walking out of the museum, they're walking away. Joel moves forward some more. Ellie looks to the left. First of all, I had no clue what Ellie was looking at when I first
Me too.
watched it.
On the first viewing, I was looking at the darker wood that was in the back.
Me too. Because in the game, there's at this point in the game, they finished doing the immersive, space thing that we just talked about, and then Ellie goes to find a way out. And she goes in this dark corridor. There's a boar jump scare sequence.
Right.
And Joel's on the other end. You think something crazy is going to happen. Nothing crazy eventually happens, but she does see a firefly symbol on the wall saying follow the light or something like that. Whatever. It's like a firefly signal, and just a bloodied on the wall, and you get the sense that Ellie is remembering the fireflies. I think this one is a lot more subtle because I paused it and I was like, Jalen, what are we looking at here? I was like, oh, duh, it's the fireflies. So yeah, she's actually looking at the actual fireflies itself.
That's a great depiction of just a trail of thought instead of it just being so blatantly remember.
I agree.
This is just a great firefly, and then just having your mind grace over to wait, the connection, the doubt I was sensing, is it something that I should be down? Because this man pulled out all the stops for me. He cares so much. I care so much for him. He wouldn't have lied to me at such a high degree, right? But the doubt is the seed is planted.
The seed is planted, and also I believe Ellie, though, when she says later on, I've always known. I think she always knew, but she hid it. Like I said at the beginning, she's hiding it from herself. But the fireflies, looking at the fireflies in actuality here as animals, I think she's getting the sense of just wow,
the connection between them developed so deep that even if she had a semblance of knowing, it's not something she'd want to believe.
Yes.
It's arguably something she couldn't believe.
Once again, she's hiding it from herself because she always had this inkling. But yeah, like you said, it's she couldn't believe this guy just put out all the stops. He just is the best father figure anyone could ever have. So it's a great crisis of emotion that's exuding just from a short glance at fireflies. Really great directing there. Really subtle. For sure, people say it's not subtle. This was pretty good.
That brings us to the next year.
17 years old. Homophobic Joel?
Once I could see how someone might gauge that on the first viewing, but then the second time I looked at the scene, I was like, no, he's just cracking down on the teen stuff. He thinks she's high.
Yeah. He does emphasize experimenting with girls. he does emphasize.
Why are you saying that?
He says
girls.
Girls.
Guitar.
It's so good. His Joel accent is brilliant.
But it tees up everything to be the best it's ever been, right? Because we go from 15 and it's this is a nice moment. We go to 16, we're above and beyond the best. And then 17, it's okay, fuck the rush botched vanilla cake. I got the nice clean chocolate cake with the right spelling. I'm happy. It's raining out, but I don't care. I got this perfect cake preserved for Ellie. It's her birthday. I'm gonna go surprise her. I'm home early. Let's go. And then and then the ultimate dad mode kicks. I love the line. He's like, so all the teen shit at once, huh?
Yeah, you're doing drugs, you're making out with people, and tattoos. You're getting tattoos. You're doing all the teenage shit at once.
Experimenting with girls.
Experimenting with girls. He said experimenting with girls. He stutters a little bit. It's very funny.
with girl Texas 83.
And I love it, man. Like, this is a Southern dude. Like, this is a guy from the South who's confused. Like, it's great. It's great.
But also, like, we know what he does in the barn, like, at the dance. Like, I know Joel's an ally. Like,
he's not homophobic. He just, like, if you're a parent, you're initially like, whether you're straight or not, it's just like, wait. First of all, somebody's in my house without me knowing. Get the fuck out of my house. I'll be just
it's important to know Joel's concern isn't like, oh, Ellie's with a girl. His concern is, oh, Ellie is my underage surrogate daughter and she's hooking up with somebody right now. That's not okay.
That's not happening. Get the fuck out of my house.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with Joel on this.
This poor tattoo girl though. She's so like
right. She's like, I'm sorry.
It'll look, the tattoo will look better in a second.
Joel should have knocked, but it is his house. But you know.
I think he did, but like he went in so fast.
Yeah, boom.
Like, hold on, Joel, you might see something you might not want to. That's always my thing. I'm like, fuck it, you gotta wait.
Yeah, right. It reminded me of like the Fairly Odd Parents, like just like barging in.
Yeah, the fucking the battering ram.
The battering ram.
Well, there was a funny line.
Yeah, there's a line.
Like, I've been filling my fatherly duty by knocking, but I'm about to barge in anyway.
Yeah. Great shit. Yeah. Man, the writing on those shows, A1. So it was fantastic here, This is the beginning of like a small, childlike rift, not the big rift, but just like, normal teenage struggles. We're done with the idyllic age now. But it is Ellie's birthday. She is 17 years old. And it starts raining outside later that night. And before that, Ellie is peering through the garage, with a flashlight. But later that night, Joel is sleeping. He hears all this noise. He's like, "What the hell?"
He heard a clatter.
Yeah, he hears scratching underneath the stairwells. But no, he goes into Ellie's room and she's like trying to move her bed out in the middle of the night, pouring rain outside,
and she's struggling to do it. And I'm like, Ellie, you're gonna soak the mattress.
What was your?
You're gonna drag it through the mud,
right? Like, are you that upset at me? You're not. I think part of me, it's very cute. Like, part of me thinks is like, did Ellie purposely want Joel to wake up so they could have this conversation? Like, I don't know. Like, am I thinking deeply about that? But it made no sense. But kids at that age aren't usually making a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's more so just irrational. Response.
But he says, I forget what she says, but Joel replies, was like, "This is my house." She's like, "Nope, this is not your house. The community gave it to you, actually to us.
You don't own anything.
You don't own anything." Yeah.
That's interesting.
But I like it here when Ellie apologizes. He's like, "I'm sorry about the drugs. I'm sorry about, making out with the girl. I'm sorry about tattoo. Except I'm not." Which is very cool, very Ellie of her.
Yeah. But also
Joel,
very just honest.
Yeah. And I like this, right? So what makes this scene so important is that they're having not the big, argument here, but it is a normal argument that they're having. And they quickly reconcile. The show is telling us how quickly they are able to reconcile and have this honest discussion right after a major, strife moment. Which comes to a big juxtaposition with later on in the episode where they have a fight and they can't reconcile until 9 months later. So it's really going to show how much they can break down and talk to each other, because there still is a lot of love there in this scene at her 17th birthday. But Joel agrees, it's probably best for her to have her own space. He does acknowledge that, which is cool. But then Joel asks about the moths. I really like the tattoo. The moth design is a lot better than my design I gave on your guitar. He admits. He's like, "What's about the moths?" He's like, "I read about it in some book. A dream book."
And he's instantly trying to relate. He's like, "Oh yeah, something about change and growth, dream. Right?" Yeah, and now he's like, "Yeah."
he got that Texas education.
Right. But I like that he's trying. And then he furthers that it wasn't just a one-off, all right, I made her feel better. He genuinely goes over to Catherine Harris character and then it's like, hey, yeah, it goes over to Gale and it's like, hey, some moths, right?
Her character is so fucking funny because I'll be so pissed. I'm reading a book. I'm having coffee in the morning. Somebody pissed her ass down. I'm just like, so moths. I'm like, I love how she says, like, does it look like I have a sign here? Just like,
yeah, from like Lucy from Peanuts. It says I'm fucking open.
It's so good. And yeah, it's just like, no, actually, it'd be butterflies in terms of like changing and transformation,
I was
evolution.
thinking
That's butterflies.
yeah. But okay, but like moss gotta be something good, right? What does moss mean? Usually death. Oh fuck.
If you believe in that shit, yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, well, I mean, you have an edgy daughter. Like I could see how she's going through like a darkness phase.
And this is great, right? I think, to be honest, I never really thought too deeply about Ellie's fascination with moths in the game, compared to this show.
Didn't find it.
What?
Didn't find him out.
No, I didn't. Ellie was like, really like moths, Turn to page
Viper
68.
4 really got me on the
Right? Yeah, like turn to page 68, my dreams book, and you can read further about that. But no,
my dream journal.
my dream journal. But yeah, I think, point blank period it's all about Ellie fascination not with death and of dying, but the notion again of what she was hiding from herself, her greater purpose, that she maybe should have died for her greater purpose. This is exactly what Marlene tells her in season 1, episode 1, I think, or 2. About episode 2, because Ellie was not in episode 1. And Marlene tells her, like, you have a greater purpose before she's about to go on with Joel. You have a greater purpose, and I think this greater purpose line has always stuck with Ellie. The camera kind of lingers on it with her drawings with that line. Not that Ellie is like suicidal, because I think Joel would have that initial thought, like, she's writing about death. Is she suicidal? She's a teenager. But more so, it's just like, if I would have died, my life would have had purpose. It's exactly what she says later on, but it just goes to show that her drawings are symbols of that. It's a symbol of Ellie thinking about the choice, thinking about her purpose, thinking about like her life. Not necessarily of death of suicide, but just of what could have been. And it's so important. I think, but even before then, I think even before, the hospital scene, I think she was still fascinated with moths because of, purpose and death. But anyways, it was great here.
Absolutely.
This whole was again, it's symbolism, but also the show is point blank telling us what the symbolism is about in a later scene. Again, the show, for better or for worse, is saying a lot, which I've seen a lot of people criticize the show with saying, like, the show is a lot of tell, not show. The show is telling us a lot with Abby motivation. The show is telling us a lot with what Joel's feeling. The show is telling us a lot with Joel's feelings in regards to the therapist scene as well. Like, the show is telling us a lot, not a lot of subtext. But I disagree. I think there's a great mix between what the show is telling us and a lot with the subtext. We talked about the Fireflies, the inner workings of Joel's parentage, and how that reflects what's going on with his father, and Dina and Ellie's whole relationship this season as well. I think one of the bigger subtextual efforts that this season has done so far is what people have complained about in regards to Ellie. But we talked about it the last 2 weeks. But in regards to Ellie's, emotional state with grief, people are like, why is she so happy all the time? And I'm just like, because she's around Dina. It's a subtext. Like, she's only around Dina. The instant she's away from Dina, she's beating somebody up with a pipe. Like, like she's putting on a face for Dina. That whole switch up is subtextual. It's on the surface, but it's also subtextual. And I think it's funny because people are still missing the point. It's wild to me.
It happens every time Ellie's alone. Like when she was in the auditorium, right? And she gets the guitar, she starts to play Future Days.
Future Days. She can't finish. I wonder why.
She can't finish. Yeah, because she's activated, Evan. I'll tell you. In the wrong sense.
It's just so funny because every week online I'm seeing people complain about how this show is not, subtextual enough. First of all, the show is always going to be more blatant than a game adaptation. Just always. because you're getting a lot of storytelling via gameplay in most games. Joel doesn't say a lot. Well, he says a lot. He's not a quiet character in the game, but he's obviously saying less lines in the game than he is on a TV show because there's less scenes of dialogue in the game.
You also just like you linger in the moments longer in games because you're passing through the levels.
Exactly. So that's just, you know.
I know we joke, like, but I genuinely fear there is a troubling, alarming scale of bad media literacy in things, and I'm.
Oh, really? Yes.
It pains me how often I see it.
It's astonishing. I think that's why I love doing this podcast, because even with shows that are like mid, like Daredevil Born Again, there's still a lot to talk about. But people just love to complain about the bullshit rather than like talk about like the nuance of stuff. Yeah. And it shows its head a lot with The Last of Us, where the media literacy is just astonishing for this season in particular. There's been a lot of fair criticism. I don't want to complain when people have fair criticism, but a lot of the criticism stems from like bad faith and bad media literacy. We're just complaining about changes from the game versus the TV show, like in regards to like Abby's motivation, in regards to we're getting a 3-month time jump after the hospital or after the Joel death. Like, this changes everything. How? Tell me how. Let's break that down. Well, I just don't like it. Okay, break it down. Why don't you like it? Like it's
not like the game.
You're not giving me much to discuss and have this conversation with. Like, it's wild to me.
Yeah, this is how I get jaded with Star Wars. You're talking to strangers about Star Wars. So like somebody will. I was like getting a fucking sandwich at Publix, and they were just they noticed my shirt. Well, I forgot what shirt I was wearing, but they were like, "Oh yeah, Star Wars, cool." Yeah, which I think I was wearing Amanda's shirt, and he was like, "Hey, which of the shows are your favorite?" I was like, "I really like the story Obi-Wan." He was like, "Oh, I thought that kind of sucked," and I was like, "Oh well," and I didn't want to push back because I'm tired. Yeah. I'm so fucking tired.
That's the deal with Star Wars. It's just like, if somebody asks me my favorite Star Wars movie, I instantly in my head I go to Last Jedi. But I'm not going to tell them that, because we're not going to have a conversation. It's probably just going to be like, I don't like Last Jedi because the Holdo maneuver is stupid or whatever. But I'm just like, I just go with Empire. It's safer.
Yeah.
But next time I'm going to say like the Acolyte and see what happens.
Yeah. Even recently, like I was like checking out and I was wearing a Star Wars shirt and they're like, "You excited for the Revenge of the Sith release?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah." But there was a twinge of fear in my brain of just like, "Oh, but do you only like the prequels? Are you one of them?" I'm like, "Please no." I just don't want to push. I don't feel like it.
Right. It's a delicate subject. Media literacy has just been across the board bad because people are complaining about the wrong things with this show. Yeah. There's right things to complain about if you have right complaints. Again, like, everybody's perspective is different here. But when they're complaining about like
this thing I like.
What?
But this thing, Evan, this thing I like is peak. That has to be enough for you. It's peak.
Right. It's peak. It's too peak.
This is shit.
Like, it's either peak or shit, and there's no in between. And like, the whole Ellie grief thing was like, Ellie's not mad enough. I'm like, what is her walking around sad and depressed 24/7? What's that? What does that add to the show? What does that do for you, for your enjoyment of the show? Let's have that conversation. Like, what does it do? Like, it makes no sense.
If all Bella Ramsey was doing was just having a scowl, a permanent scowl, and just being quiet and reserved and just being like fuckers, like that, you would call her one-dimensional and a far departure from Ashley Johnson, and there would be no winning. Right?
It's like, oh man, like there's just much more grief in the game. Like, yeah, she's with Dina. Like, anyways, it's crazy. But so yeah,
you're also talking about like a 50-hour game,
right? And like it's 2 years later. Well, what?
And we're in like one part of the season adapting said game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I couldn't agree more. But 2 years later, at 19 years old, this is great here. Ellie's talking to herself about questions that she has for Joel. It's starting to rile up again. She can't ignore it anymore. She says, 1, The Firefly spotted us a mile from the hospital. How did they get surprised by these raiders?
They're really good raiders. Next.
Really,
I'm trying to defend Joel.
2, how did we get away if you said there was raiders and they've killed everybody, including Marlene, while you were carrying me? How did we get away?
I'm something of a raider myself.
Exactly. He's like, I'm too good for that. I was bobbing and weaving while carrying
I'm built,
you.
Ellie, I'm built different.
I'm built different. Next question.
Arguably, Joel is built hella different.
He is different. I don't know how he survived that whole hospital raid. That was wild. I had that same question, Ellie. Watch the tape. It's crazy what he does.
If Abby didn't get the jump on luring Joel into the house, I think Joel would have had a better chance.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. And they are actually well trained. All of them are, but
they are, but also we ran into a lot. I mean, were the Fireflies not trained?
They were more trained than them, I think. Yeah. But yeah, and then he says, if there's dozens of immune people, how come nobody ever heard of blank? And then, she gets interrupted by Joel. But she was going to say, how come nobody ever heard of the other people that were immune?
The population's small. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. They spread out. They died. I don't know.
They were the Fireflies knew. They couldn't relay the info in time before the raid. I'm trying to fucking...
Yeah.
I'm trying to cover Joel's tracks.
The radio broke down. What happened was...
honestly, Ellie, I'm old and my memory is fading.
But this is where I think the show is starting to elevate beyond the game. I think this whole from here on out, I think better than the game. I would just say that because the first part about acknowledging how great the show is also acknowledging that the game isn't some sacred text. Again, I love the game, but Ellie realizing Joel lied to her by traveling from Jackson all the way back to Salt Lake City, Utah by herself, and then going into the hospital, finding a radio, going back outside, listening to said radio. Joel travels from Jackson to Utah by himself. Also, like it was a lot, but it made sense because it was a game. Like, okay, they just fast traveled, I guess, there.
Sure.
Anyways, Ellie realizing it from a videotape on a recorder, not the best, but the emotional reaction is still really good in the game. But I like everything that happens here. I think it gives Ellie much more emotional intelligence, and it creates a very interesting comparison here. I will get to. So we'll get to it, but yeah. So Joel knocks on her door, and he asks her, you're 19 now. I set aside some time, and we're gonna do a patrol. So they start doing a patrol with just Ellie and Joel. And during this, I found it very interesting how Joel is like reminiscent of the past. He's like, oh, we're on an old trail here. I picked this out, one of the easier trails because it's your first time. Put on your binoculars. Joel's having a good time because he's reminiscing about the past. He says, this is the old trail, just like what we did as, just me and you before we went to Jackson. Just chilling, vibing, we're using our binoculars, we're having fun exploring while he's reminiscing about the past very fondly. While he's doing that, Ellie is just having this like deadpan, saddened expression. She's like, okay, yeah. It's kind of the same expression she had right after the cannibal incident in the finale of season 1, where they get to Salt Lake City and Joel's like so happy and so like, this is great. We're about to go to the hospital. And Ellie's just like, she's like a shadow of herself after what happened.
Yeah.
And we see that rearing his head again. That's why he turns around like, is everything okay? Because you're not acting great. But then, yeah, she kind of like locks in a little bit. But that's when the radio happened and cuts them off. But I just love that scene here because Ellie is so like, she's thinking about the past in not a good way. And Joel's thinking about the past and how great it was because he's oblivious to what Ellie is truly feeling.
Yeah.
So then they get the radio. There's an attack. Eugene and somebody else, Tim. Fuck, I don't know. He says, "Go back." And he says, and she says, "I'm not your kid. I'm your partner. We stick together." And I like this because she is Ellie is his kid basically. But at this point, they have become partners. They have become like in simpatico, whatever it's called. They're locked in together, which is it goes to show how tight they are as a unit at this point, and how that unit can still get broken apart. And a few scenes later, they get to Eugene, and I was shocked, Nathan. Eugene was actually bitten. I always thought my main idea was like, okay, they're going to use the Eugene flashback to showcase why Ellie figured out that Joel was lying. That is exactly what they're using this for, but not in the way I expected. I thought Eugene's going to be like, hey, Ellie, I know what Joel did, or vice versa. He was going to tell her, he's going to tell Joel that he knew what he did. In the game, Eugene was like an ex-firefighter.
Yeah, maybe Ellie like gets bit and Eugene sees it and it's like, oh,
yeah,
something like that.
Something like that. But no, Eugene is in fact bit. He does have like an hour left to live.
Yeah.
But he pleads to them. He says, I have like an hour left to live. I'm fine right now. Let me go back to the gate. I'll have a respectable distance away. I just want to see my wife, Catherine O'Hara's character, Gail. I want to see Gail again. I want to see her before I die.
Yeah. Great acting pick, by the way.
Joe Pantoliano. Who's been in a lot of shit. Good shit, I mean. Not bullshit, but
he's great. Goonies, The Matrix.
Yes.
Amongst other things.
Yeah. You know, I watched Goonies for the first time with Nathan, right? That was you?
Yeah.
A couple years ago. Was that 2 years ago? Was that last year? I don't know.
Well, I think it was this past year. I went to the re-release this year, 40th anniversary.
Oh.
That was cool.
In IMAX?
No. Turner Classic Movies will not. Fathom Events will not.
I thought everything had to be in IMAX after you saw Pacific Rim, Nathan. What happened?
Well, if it's available, I'm going. But also, I mean, I will succumb to picking Dolby if it's not an expanded aspect ratio and I see there's a bigger crowd in the Dolby.
The Thunderbolts in Dolby or IMAX?
I did IMAX first in an earlier screening and then with a denser Dolby screening after. Same day.
Denser
audience, yeah. No, in fuller audience, not like they're stupid. Like,
I mean, denser like the screen is dense. I'm like, what?
No, but Gene is
it was really intense.
Yeah, painful. Because you understand, like, he's not asking to live, to let him go. He's just like, I understand. Just like march me back. And let me say goodbye to my wife. Let me say what I need to say. Which gets more beautiful.
And Joel's not having it. I was shocked by this
at all.
Because Joel is a sympathetic character to a degree. He does have a heart of gold at the end of the story, or at the end of the day. But I think this stems from what?
I'm sorry. This might go into like what we were seeing in the interview of Joel's savior complex, right? He's probably thinking like for the betterment of Jackson, for the betterment of Ellie here, and anybody, can't risk him turning and doing something rash and infecting somebody. So he doesn't want to take that risk whatsoever. He's protecting the people that he's come to know and love, even at the detriment of this poor man's final request in life.
100%. I think that's the thing here is like, yeah, Ellie is immune. She won't die if she's bitten. But at the same time, she could die from an attack. And I think, again, instantly he goes into father protection mode. I can't have... Because the thing is, like, they have to guide him to the wall anyways. It's a very dangerous task for them. And, yeah, it's just dangerous for Jackson. It's against protocol. I wonder if Joel was lying from the beginning when he told Ellie the new plan. When Ellie is like, hey, let's just put our guns down. I'm cool with it. Let's do this. He then tells her to go get
the horses.
Get the horses so we can, walk all together again, basically.
Yeah. We'll start walking, we'll meet you along the trail.
Exactly. I think Joel was lying 100%. He wasn't going to do it anyways the whole time. But it was just fascinating that he didn't. I think it just goes back to him just being a savior here.
Yeah, which just this is the whole crux. Joel making this deal with Ellie, and then when she freezes to turn back to really lock in if he means it, he says, "I promise." But yeah, it's unfortunate that like Ellie, I am also feeling that twinge of he's not.
He's done what? Oh yeah, he's done the truth. Yeah.
Sorry,
It's
media literacy, Evan.
yeah. I thought you were gonna say something. I was like, what? But yeah, it was so fascinating here. I think again, this is just so well fucking shot. The slow walk between Ellie and just killing that.
Got a runner.
Got a runner. It's dead. It's looking at me now. Like, why'd you kill me? Kidding. Elliot, so Joel is walking Eugene. They get to the edge of this cliff. It's a beautiful. It has to be. Is this real? What do you think? This is a real location, or was that volume? I couldn't tell.
I feel like it was so like it's so beautiful that like I feel like maybe too. Like it, I believe you could find a location like that, but the fact that it was so expansive, this beautiful tranquil lake and like mountains to a sunset, I was like, there's at least some touch ups or something. I feel like I think it was effects. I think it's well done effects, but just like looking at the edges of the actors, I think it was all blended very well. But I think it is blended. But yeah, like he takes a turn to this lake view, and it's beautiful.
And Eugene knows he's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, oh, of course you want, here's a beautiful sight. The last thing you can see. And this is a very heartbreaking moment.
So well acted. This is like Joe Pantinello coming in, getting his due here, because he gets to eat so much great writing here, so much great delivery. He's upset. He's like, I don't want to see. I know what you're doing here. I don't want to see this sunrise. I don't want to see this view. I want to see my wife. And it's so beautiful. I think one of my favorite lines, he says, I don't want to hear her. I don't want her to hear my words. I want to hear hers. Her last words to me.
Yeah, I need her last words for me. Yeah.
So perfect. So beautiful.
Wow. And it's heartbreaking because you see him just break down, and Joel, I know Joel has the sympathy for this. I know he does, but he believes he's doing what's right for those he cares about. Even though morally we know it's wrong.
Yeah, and he says a great line here. If you love someone, you can always see their face. He's always seeing Sarah's face, and this brings Eugene to the light a little bit, where the camera zooms in on his face. For a second there, I thought you could see like as Eugene is trying to visualize Gail's face, the camera lingers on his eyes, and for a second there, I thought the camera would linger on his eyes as he goes from like competent to being like an infected.
Yeah,
that'd have been a crazy switch. It might do that too. I can't tell. But
I would have expected Joel to wait for that at least, I thought it would. I think the choice was made to not allow that to happen, to further drive home Joel's wrong in this situation. Because if he does turn so quickly, then Joel is justified.
Exactly. But yeah, this action is kind of like inexcusable, especially from Ellie and Gail's point of view.
Yeah, but it is beautiful that I do see Eugene get that realization of being able to see her, and Joel does at least wait for that moment. And I love the choice to go to the overhead shot of the forest, and it's a very, very, very muffled sound of a blow.
Yeah,
and just you just see the birds flying away, and
Mm-hmm. It's great. You see the birds and the bees flying away. It's great.
You mean demonetized?
So yeah, this was great. Joel comes back to town and he begins lying to Gail, saying like,
well, even before that, Ellie.
Oh yes. Sorry, yeah.
And she's stunned at what she's seeing. And
I was like, oh, this is bad. This is bad.
It's bad there, but then they're bringing his body back and they're riding along, and Joel's laying out, here's the situation. We're gonna tell him what happened. not going to tell her about the full depth of the situation. It's better that way, which just all but seals. Like
Yeah.
if Ellie's seeing how comfortable Joel is able to craft this, he absolutely could have done this to me.
This is great because everything he's saying here is exactly what he was thinking when he made the decision to lie to Ellie. I didn't rewatch this part, but I think he says like, "We're doing this to protect Gale." In other words, he was lying to Ellie to protect Ellie. It's much safer this way. That was one excuse he also used when he lied to Ellie. Like everything he's saying, what they should say to Gale, is what he was thinking that he should say to Ellie, and why he did it to Ellie, lying to protect her, to make it safer, to keep everything calm and nice, keep the status quo of their relationship. But yeah, Ellie's not having it at all. And again, I think at this point, again, she already knows. So you get to Gale, and he's like, Eugene was brave. He did it himself. He wished he could say goodbye to you in person. All the kind of stuff is like, oof, all these lies and half truths. But before he finishes,
well, I mean, even as that's going on, Gale takes his words and believes it and embraces Joel. Yeah, to as like a probably a thanks to bringing him back. Like
that would have angered me too. If I'm
that would I don't know how you keep seeing this woman as your therapist after that, Joel. You should be there at all.
That's wild. Yeah.
Well, it's not now.
Yeah. Right. Wow. But yeah, it was just a wild series of events there. But then Ellie just goes off. I'm like, oh my god, she's doing it. This is so like great awkward tension.
Yeah, not to hurt Gale, but to punish Joel was the word.
Punish Joel big time. Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I got from it as well. Where she says, "No, you lied. He was alive. He wanted to see Gale, and you shot him in the face." I think she says.
Yeah, you shot him in the head, and then just the final. And in the scene we saw with Eugene, Joel said, "I promise," but Ellie says, "You swore," which is the season 1 conclusion, which is just tiling back to her.
Which I didn't catch my first viewing, but yeah, one of the benefits of watching the making of bit. But yeah, when Neil says that, I was like, oh wow, you're right. Because yeah, obviously what the scene's trying to convey is that like, yeah, Ellie is confirming her worst suspicions, but the use of "I swore" versus "I promise" is so smart because when she says "you swore," like you just said, it references the season 1 finale where when Joel swore that everything that happened at the hospital was the truth, and it was a lie. And it's happening here again, and she figures it out based on just his look when he made the lie, when he made the promise, the fake promise. Just her going off of the look to confirm her worst suspicion that she kind of already knew was great. I think this is a much better choice for Ellie in this moment than in the game, and it works for me. 9 months later, she is still upset. I also like we get 9 months later versus in the game, which I think is like years. I think she figures it out, and then years later, I think 1 or 2 years, I don't remember, but I do remember it being longer than 9 months. Which for me, I'm like, the length here makes a lot more sense given the context of this situation. And I was fascinated because we jumped straight to the New Year's Eve sequence, the dance party. And at this point, I'm like, oh, wow, this is a change because while this scene is happening in the game, she had not talked for Joel for years, and Joel has admitted like what he did, and that's why they had that rift. At this point, Joel hasn't admitted what he did, but Ellie is still extremely upset at him, which I think works because she's upset at him for the Eugene thing, but it's much more beyond the Eugene thing. She's upset at him because of the lie. She just confirmed it to herself, not to Joel. And Joel knows that too, because in episode 1, when Gale asked him why they separated, he says, "I helped her, I protected her," and so Joel knows why he's in deep shit with Ellie. When Ellie says, "I swore," I think Joel immediately knows what's going on. That's why they haven't had that talk. That's why they didn't have a full-on conversation to the porch scene, because Joel is afraid to admit what he's done because he can't even talk about it to his therapist. Why is he going to talk about it to Ellie? He's still defending what he did. And Ellie still can't forgive him for the hospital sequence, even if they haven't had that conversation. I think it just works wonders. So yeah, we get to the dance sequence, all from Joel's point of view. She's there with Tommy, Tommy's kid, and Maria. Very sweet sequence. Again, I love the aspect of Tommy being here in this scene. Tommy is not there in the game at all. But again, this episode is prioritizing family, familial relationships, and seeing Tommy at this point with his own son is emblematic of, the beginning of the episode, about the whole idea of parentage, how these people are changing for the better. It's great.
It's great. I love how, despite the hard times that they have as a family, like Maria accepting Joel as part of their family, they say they love him. It's wonderful.
For all the people that still thought Maria didn't vote for Joel, even though we know behind the scenes they confirmed that Maria did vote for them to go to Seattle. I instantly went back to that 3-7 vote, whatever it was. So yeah, Jesse, Maria, and Tommy all voted for them to go to Seattle because they love Joel. They do care for him. They do respect, and he is part of the community.
But and then I do like the little moment where, because it's a New Year's party, so he says to Joel, "I'll see you next year." But then also, Evan, does he see him the next day?
I don't think so.
That's
this
the last time.
Tommy and Joel.
That hurts.
It's heartbreaking.
But it was a good terms, which is the best.
Thank God. Joel pushes Seth. Ellie goes off on him. Joel goes back home, starts playing on his guitar.
Sad boy mix.
Yes. And we see Ellie go right by the house, and she moonwalks back up to him. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So Evan, you called that they would do the scene this season. I was still under the impression they would not, but they would maybe sprinkle. And I thought for a second, because I don't remember, does Ellie in the game, does she walk by the porch before turning back, or does she just go right to the porch?
Straight to the porch.
Okay, yeah. So she walked past, and I was like, maybe they really aren't gonna do. Maybe I'm gonna get mystery. No, she's here. All right, I'm gonna fucking get the tissues.
She's like, boom. Surprise.
You looking for this?
Looking for this. He's like, stop quoting Avengers Age of Ultron.
Stop quoting my favorite character, Rhodey the War Machine.
Yeah. Is he a Skrull at this point, Ellie?
As played by Emmy-nominated Falcon Winter Soldier actor Don Cheadle.
How did that happen?
I don't know. He wasn't getting it for Secret Invasion, I
guess. Nobody got anything for Secret Invasion.
But I heard it was good.
Yeah.
I have not heard from a soul, which is insane. Not a soul. And
I think each week my only benefit was Samuel Jackson's great. Samuel Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn have great chemistry. That's about it. Yeah.
No love for Amelia.
She's good. They don't give her much to work with. Amelia needs a better agent, and she is like the Jenna Ortega agent. Not great. But anyways, this scene is fucking great. It had a lot to do here. Because not only are they in the game, it's strictly an apology scene. They're coming together to apologize. But for this one, it has to break down the reason first and then get to the apology. So I'm like, wow, this has a lot more emotional weight. I still love the game version. I think it's a perfect scene. But this one is just as perfect for different reasons. Because again, like I just said, it's going into the emotional breakdown of why, and then emotional breakdown of, okay, I might, the apology of it all, and I'll do it all again thing.
It was genius to put it in succession with all of these flashbacks on all of these birthdays of Ellie.
That was so important.
It's so good. It's so important. It was so well crafted of just showing the escalation of the best they've been, the slow erosion down into the breaking point, and then just having it already have reached the breaking point. So when all of the truth comes out, the truth isn't detrimental, even though it is in the sense of confirming Ellie's worst fears,
Yes.
but the truth is the first step of building back up.
Perfect. Like it's painful reconciliation. You have to dive deep into the reasons for their pain, especially Ellie's pain and Joel's pain as well. They're both carving out their own paths of like a pain, emotional pain in a way. And it brings back to the quote, which we'll get to. Joel's quote, "You can do a little bit better than me." Joel never hit Sarah. He never hit Ellie. But he did deeply, deeply affect Ellie and through emotional pain by lying to her. Is much more different than getting beat, obviously, but there's still a sense of just like hurting somebody you love, the way Joel did to Ellie, by the act of lying, by trying to do better, by trying to have like this hero figure, this hero complex with Ellie. In that act of his own personal sense of justice, he has actually harmed her in ways that he couldn't even possibly imagine.
There is an interesting perspective with that of him being a little better than his father, and like emotionally, yeah. And I know we've memed to hell like the Ellie's activated moment in the first season, but like really, like when you look at how violent Joel is, even to protect the people he cares about, how violent he is, and how that not only, and Ellie is already a pretty like intense individual, but just the equal level of expression of violence from these two people that form such a strong bond. And then once Joel is taken from this world and Ellie goes on her revenge streak and is doing all of the pain that Abby inflicted on her, it's still based in a reality of her development of a violent rage from her experiences with Joel. So in a sense, even though Joel was never physically violent to Ellie, that physical violence was still around in her upbringing, and unfortunately is in a sense passed to her in the most tragic sense.
Great point. Great point. Yeah, the whole activation of that physical anger, that aggression that has been with Joel, that not towards Ellie, but around Ellie, has really affected her. So much so, like you're saying, like, as we get to the end of this episode, with Ellie having just done on the unthinkable, her second major kill, with the death of Nora, after torturing and brutally beating up Nora, then killing Nora, all for the sake of Joel. What did she say last week when Nora was like, "Why are you doing this? Or you're the cure?" And she's like, I know what I am. I know what he did." And now seeing that in this episode, in this scene, and how that really hurt Ellie, it just elevates what she did to Nora, because it really hurt Ellie. But what does she say at the end? At the end, she's willing to reconcile, and that's taken away from her in the cruelest way possible, and just brings her back to everything you just said: that physical revenge, aggression, activation, and it's not going to stop. Even going into the finale, it's not going to stop, which makes it all the more poetic and emotional. But man, this watching so fantastic here. So he initially says like, "So Dina, is your girlfriend now?" He's not homophobic, guys. No, it's just one quit. It's just one kiss. She didn't mean anything by it. I don't know why she did that. It's just all these lines are just one from the game. It's insane how much he's done like Ashley Johnson as well in this sequence. he's like, Dina, we'd be lucky to have you.
Oh,
It's great. But then she says, you're such an asshole. You lied to me. You looked me straight in the face and you lied to me. It was the same look. I think I knew already. I knew this whole time. And I was just like, I love that so much. I just
yeah,
love that so much. Like, she knew this whole time that Ellie just knew from the jump. And then the whole Eugene thing just really broke the damn wide open.
yeah,
And she says, like, I'm going to give you one last chance. Tell me what happened. If you lie to me again, we're done. And I think this is the biggest harm for Joel because he cannot have that happen. He cannot be done with Ellie. He loves Ellie so much. He
yeah,
cannot possibly, fathom this severing of their relationship. He was already struggling
yeah.
in. That's why he'd be going to therapy because he hasn't been able to talk to Ellie, right?
Yeah,
So,
he does. Even though he's getting along with Dina, it's not the same. They haven't
no,
been through the same instances, and Joel, with what he's went through with Sarah, can't bear to go through the pain of losing another child.
exactly. And he'll be losing her, not in death, but in just true separation from his own actions.
It's even worse. It's not life taking Ellie away. It's Joel's fault,
Yes. And
and
he kind
that's
of knows
like
that
even
too,
worse. And you would have to live. Yeah, you'd have to live with that to the end of his days.
constantly. So I love this. I love this so much, guys. Oh man. So she asked him, were there other immune people? Joel just shakes his head.
He's
No. And
mostly silent.
the tears during this, he's silent as hell.
The
Pedro's,
well,
man.
yeah, all the buildup of like every next point that Ellie gets a confirmation on breaks Joel a little more. The shame of his actions overflowing from within.
It's incredible. Next question. Were there any raiders? Shakes his head. Tears are starting to flow.
Yeah.
Could they have made a cure? And this is the big one. He's like, this is where he nods his head, yes. And she says, did you? Yes. And Marlene?
Oh,
Yes. Like, she can't even finish the sentences. She just says, and Marlene. He's like, I killed them all, including Marlene. And
yeah.
I love that Marlene is referenced here. Marlene, it can't be forgotten, guys. Like, go back to that season 1 finale. The way Marlene was carrying on Ashley Johnson, Ellie's mom's will. Ellie's mom says, like, promise me you'll take care of Ellie.
Yeah.
Marlene takes that on. And Marlene has to have the gut-wrenching decision. Do I kill Ellie? Or do I promise, right? Do I go with the promise I made her mom? And Marlene makes the opposite of Joel's choice. She chooses the world over Ellie, even though she made that decision. And for Joel to kill Marlene and kill that mother figure, it's like killing another parent in Ellie's mind. So that breaks her down. And Joel continues, making the cure would have killed you. And then she's like, then I was supposed to die. She immediately, like, because she's been ready to say this. She's been ready to say this. Like, I was supposed to die. That was my purpose. My life would have fucking mattered, but you took it from me. You took it from everyone. And I'm like, this is incredible.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And that was the other moment where I heard Ashley in her voice. Not
right. Oh my god.
Right, and that's not to say like Bella's copying. I just
no.
I think she's embodying the character of Ellie so deeply, in just like the desperation and vulnerability of Ellie.
100% here, and I've been saying this, like, that's what makes the season so impactful. Like, the whole, you took that from me, yes, and that's why all of Ellie's decisions have been, referenced to this one singular point. Like, you took this decision away from me, but also from everyone. And I go back to the brilliance of episode 2 and the whole Jackson attack. That is emblematic of Joel's decision to save Ellie over the world. By taking away the cure, he doomed the world to a continuation of the infected, an evolution of the infected. And that causes the stampede on Jackson, nearly killing everybody in Jackson. And the evolution of the spores might not have happened. Like, stalkers might not have happened. Like, all these evolution of the infected happening because Joel decided to save Ellie over saving the world. And it's so impactful.
It's so impactful, not only because of like how you look at the world, but like not even Ellie's fault. She now has the survivor's guilt of every
Yes,
time somebody gets infected, gets executed before they turn, or sees somebody that has turned, is all because her life wasn't given for a chance for them to live, to make it. Every man, woman, every child that gets infected is wasn't due to her actions, but it's something that she holds inside, like the blood that runs through her veins is literally the embodiment of what could have saved the world, and she can't give it to anybody because Joel took away the one man who could have fixed it.
big time. Poof. Yeah, again, yeah, it elevates her survivor's guilt, big time. Her purpose, that idea again, the idea of death,
Yeah,
is ringing his head again. He says, "I'll pay the price because you're going to turn away from me. But if I had a second chance, I'd do it all over again." And it's just, he
man,
regret his decisions at all, which is so Joel and so powerful.
it is.
And she says, "Because you're selfish." He's like, "No, because he didn't say no. But he says, because I love you, on a way you can't understand. Maybe you never will, but if that day should come, if you should ever have one of your own, well, then I hope you do a little bit better than me." And I'm just, oh my god, how is that? What is happening?
It's not fair.
It's not fair. It's not fair. And it's just, what have the last 2 episodes have given us? Ellie gleaming, and she's going to be a father now.
Yeah,
She is going to have one of her own. And Joel saying this from beyond the grave, basically, just like, I hope you're a little bit better than me. Hopefully, you're sticking around better than me. But we already see the tragedy of all of this, right? Because
yeah,
hopefully we have a bit better than me. Hopefully you can be a better parent than me. However, what did we see just last week? The instant Dina gets hurt, the mother in this relationship per se. If Ellie's the father, Dina's the mother, and then the child, whatever. Dina's hurt. She gets thrown away. Ellie, as a parent, should go back to help out her child and her, her girlfriend. See if they're
yeah,
safe. She doesn't. She continues on the revenge path that is fueled by her love and loss of Joel. It's so complex. It's so interesting. It's like she's forgoing this parental role that she had so gladly accepted less than a day ago
yeah.
towards this revenge path over a person who has such a complex parental relationship with herself. It's just so tragic because this was the last conversation she had with Joel. They didn't have room to reconcile because she says, "I don't think I can ever forgive you, but I would like to try." And that's the last word she's able to say to him, at least that we're able to hear
Yeah.
from him. And again, it goes to episode 2 where she tells Jesse that, hey, they did have a talk. So they did have that talk. And yeah, that's kind of where the episode ends here. As Ellie, we flash back to the present. Ellie's in the rain, and she had just come back from doing the unthinkable with Nora, and it's not stopping.
No, and I can only imagine that it's all going to come to a head in this finale because I
Did you
do
watch that?
believe.
Did you watch that?
I did not. I did not. I'm
Oh,
speculating.
wow,
I didn't look ahead.
wow,
I'm merely speculating.
whoa!
But I
Tell
feel
me.
like we are going to get to that Abby running in the theater. So to that point, we're gonna need to do a lot of trekking and taking out a lot of people that it belong to Abby. I don't know if we're gonna successfully do all that in a hour time frame. Maybe they'll give us like an hour 10 if we're lucky. But
Yeah, the episode. I am slightly worried. The episode around like 55 minutes. So it's normal episode length, episode 4 or 5 length. But yeah, I think we are getting. I'm not going to spoil the future on coming up sequence, but I think it's looking like we're getting to the aquarium, day 3, Ellie and Jesse. If I had to theorize, the episode starts off with Dina in pain, arrow in the leg, hurts. Ellie breaking down a little bit over what she just did. Hopefully the episode lingers on that about what Ellie just did.
Yeah.
I did like that part in the game when Dina's like rubbing Ellie, but I can't remember because I remember Dina rubbing and like consoling Ellie. I can't tell if that's after Ellie did to Nora or what Ellie did to Mel and Owen. Because Mel and Owen is the bigger one where she's like, oh shit, she's pregnant. So I want that to happen in the finale. I think we are getting that in the finale. We're getting the Mel and Owen sequence. So I think we have to end in the theater. But I'm just nervous. Is ending it on a cut to black like Abby being like, I let you live. Is that a good finale moment? Or that's
if I had one more episode, yes. But I do worry about the crunch. I worry about spoilers for the game, everybody. I worry about Jesse going out quick like that. I know you're supposed to have the surprise, but like even for like what we've experienced in the season, I like the amount of Jesse we've gotten, but I feel like maybe we could get slightly more.
I'm with you. I think we spent much more time with Jesse in game at this point than what we got in the show. Because even though the show has given us much more of Jesse in Jackson than what we got in the game, which is great. But Jesse in Seattle, day 2, because in the show day 2, he just comes in and saves them during the stalker sequence. But in the game, again, Ellie's at Hillcrest, this suburb that is filled with a lot of wolves. There's a whole shootout in the truck or in this car versus the infected. They're going crazy. Infected, they lay in the water. Jesse helps them out, and then all the kind of stuff. And they're exploring Seattle together. And then that's a lot of Jesse and Ellie. And then it continues with day 3, I think, where I'm forgetting now. Yeah, I think Jesse's with Ellie in day 2. No, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going all over the place. But I just remember Jesse and Ellie having just a lot of mission time together in day 2 or day 3, one of them. And I think that like exploration is important. Hopefully we get that next week of just Jesse and Ellie together. Because I think they have to go save Tommy. Or at least that might be one of the prerogatives is to go save Tommy. But then Ellie's like, let me go to this aquarium. You save Tommy. And then so that's gonna happen. So yeah, but yeah, I think, and then the end of the episode we'll get Tommy. Because I think again, yeah, are we skipping over a lot of interesting gameplay? Because like in day 3, that's where we get like the whole mall sequence with Ellie. I think like this indoor mall fun gameplay level that's got to be skipped. Ellie versus some Seraphites has to be skipped, I think. Even though the upcoming clip there is a Seraphite there, I'm just like, what's happening here? But anyways, so yeah, I am worried about the crunch. It has affected Ellie day 1 and it has affected Ellie day 2, but both those episodes were still really good. So despite the crunch, I am excited for the finale. I hope they end it on a strong note that is good for the season as a whole. And if they do end it on the Abby cut to black moment, I'll be fine with it because that is just like the game. But for the game, it was just like cut to black, continue playing. Now we have to wait 2 years. So it's like it's going to feel different, which is why I was so happy they did a port scene here because this season has always been about Ellie's journey, Ellie's days of Seattle, and how to move on.
Yeah.
Whew. But overall, I am excited for this finale. I have been loving this season. And if this finale sealed the deal for me, if I love this finale as much as I do episodes 4 and 5, then I think this was a fantastic A+ season of television for me. So hopefully the finale ends on a strong note. But that was a long talk. Before we go into trailer time, they did confirm that, or Craig confirmed to Collider that, Last of Us season 4 is happening.
Cool.
Well, they haven't been renewed for season 4. But he did say like, The Last of Us might have more episodes than season 2, for one. That'd be interesting. But he also
Okay.
said, like, yeah, if we are lucky enough to get renewed, they will. Then he thinks they need one more story for season 4. What do you think about that as I pull up this trailer? What do you think about like what season 4 could entail? Because season 3 is obviously going to be Abby's storyline, but
Yeah.
season 4 is going to have to be um,
I think
Santa
season
Barbara.
4. Yeah, I think season 4 is going to be the farm. The later points of the game, that Tommy egging on, if we're still following that, Tommy egging on Ellie to get back into the fight, Ellie's trauma from the experiences, and then ultimately culminating in that final fight between them, even when Abby doesn't want to fight, and Ellie losing her friend. Because I see a lot of lingering shots of guitars resting in an empty space in the season, which
Yeah,
is pretty similar to like the final shot of the game. And I think it's gonna like hit all the more because usually whenever we see the scene with the guitar, it's always followed with Ellie's playing. Ellie's handed the guitar, Ellie's holding it, Ellie's getting all together. I even kind of like maybe this could be a prelude to that, where when she had her arm burned, when she was touching the guitar, she winces a little bit, but then she falls into it. But then when we get to the point of how it goes, when like this last bit that Joel imparted on her of teaching her this ability to play, and then when she goes to play again, she can't because she's missing the fingers. She just has to set it down and she walks off. I think it's all teed up very well.
yeah, I think it's going to be great. I'm just curious, like, I know season 3 is going to have to go through a lot of Abby's days, but I also think season 3 is going to add a couple episodes. I think similar to how season 2 is giving us more Wolf and Seraphite insight.
Mhm.
I think we're gonna get a lot more Seraphite backstory. I'm still curious as to if they'll give us a standalone Seraphite episode with the Prophet. I think that could definitely happen.
Mm,
Um, do not be surprised if they give us more Lev and Yara before they escape, because in the game we cut to Abby getting taken just like Lev in the woods at night, and then Yara comes in to save the day. I wouldn't mind seeing Lev and Yara before they even escape. We could see Lev cutting their hair, becoming
yeah,
bald, and that'd be or shaving their head.
maybe even get like backstory, like flashbacks with them.
Remember, they cut back. They don't cut back to it, but like Lev wants to go back to mom, and Yara's like, "Mom doesn't like us. Mom doesn't like you. My mom's super religious,"
Mm,
and we can get like the aspect of that again, that parentage angle with Lev and
yeah,
Yara. Um, and then
Spearman. Sorry.
right, and then definitely getting a Tommy centric episode. I am confident we're gonna get a Tommy centric episode. Tommy versus Manny is going to be expanded upon in the season. I think season 3. Because
Mm,
next time we see Tommy during Abby's storyline, Abby's chasing a sniper, turns out to be Tommy, and then they fight and they scuffle. But I think we're gonna get more Tommy. Like, what's Tommy been doing?
yeah.
So that'd be very fun. Um, so yeah, I think the show's going to elevate some and add some stuff there. And then season 4 is going to give us, like you said, everything at the farm and Santa Barbara for Abby and Ellie. I don't know how
Mm.
you make that 6 or 7 episodes.
I think there's
But
a
we can,
good pace, like the journey of going through. I mean, first Abby's experience going through, Ellie following, tracking her. I'm sure there's going to be fill-ins with flashbacks and expansions because they're really good at not just like adapting the game, but like filling in even greater stuff that wasn't there before that just fleshes stuff out, like Joel's dad, or like the Bill and Frank episode. It's not the first time, and it won't be the last.
agreed. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't think they're milking the series. I always thought that, like, especially given how this season only has 7 episodes,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded getting more episodes. But yeah, Ellie's days for 1 season, Abby's days for season 3, and then season 4, you get Ellie and Abby together.
Yeah.
Um, so
This
yeah,
I would argue is like the like I'm not a fan of the word filler ever, but I feel like this show is especially just no fat on it whatsoever. Like everything is so intentional and
agreed,
purposeful for every character's development.
agreed. Great discussion. So let's watch this trailer here. WB, be nice to us today, please.
Yeah, they'll claim us, but they won't block us.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah. Even if we talk over it, that's so weird.
It's quite weird.
How do other people do it? How do they get away with it?
I mean, sometimes they don't. It's just like it's not blocked, but they'll get claimed, and it'll be like, okay, now we're running ads on it, and getting your benefited editing.
Like people make money off of reaction videos all the time, right?
They do. They do. It depends how you manipulate the footage, or sometimes copyright owners don't care. Sometimes they encourage it. Other times you'll get an instance where it's like, yeah, we're gonna claim it. Like honestly, Disney's pretty 50-50 with like. I think their shows get like if you're reacting to a show, it gets claimed a lot easier. But if you're usually reacting to a trailer, it's usually not so bad, and they 9 times out of 10 let you coast. It's crazy.
Interesting. But here we go, Superman trailer. Before we watch this, Nathan, have you already seen it?
Yeah, because it was like, what, 5 days ago?
Yeah, I think it was last Tuesday last Wednesday.
Yeah, both of them were Wednesday. These trailers were checking out.
So yeah, I agree. I watched it and I loved this trailer. So let's watch it and let's break it down.
Yeah.
Here we go. Superman official trailer. 3 minutes.
Wow. Now I'm worried to see the cut down version in theaters.
Are you being serious right now?
Oh, can you turn on?
You'd let me interview you as Superman.
Sure.
Turn it down.
What's that? I'll turn it down.
Yeah.
Ready?
Let's do it, Cronkite.
There we go.
Superman.
I love Lois here already, dude. She's great.
Recently,
Me too.
you've come under a
Fits
lot of
perfect.
fire for what some might. It's a lot. Today, the Secretary of Defense said he was going to look into your actions.
It's fine.
That's
Like
funny.
they carry such a cool dynamic already. He's defending his actions.
Maybe.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Not maybe. I did.
In effect, you illegally the country.
This is how you're going to be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman.
He's progressively getting upset.
Did you consult
Yeah,
the
he's
president?
human.
No.
You seemingly acting as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States
representing
will cause
anybody except for me.
problems around the
Oh, this is
That's
so
my favorite
good.
thing.
Good.
I
Man.
can question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going
The ramping up here, the tension and their
Yeah.
interview,
Oh, it's beautiful.
the theme kicking in.
People lifting them up.
Oh, I
Love
love it.
Eyes up here.
Eyes up here. The camera work
it.
here.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I think it's gonna flow so well uncut.
Who's this person right here? I don't know who that is.
I think she's from the Authority storyline.
Okay.
Your
Awesome.
So good. Saving people, man. More heroes. We need to see.
makes you
Yeah.
who you are.
Man. Oh, that scene's gonna break me. I'm ready.
It's gonna hurt. Yeah.
Superman.
He's gonna kill it as Lex. I'm so
He
excited.
is.
He's an it.
He's an it.
Wow.
It's somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation.
I will not
Whoa.
accept that.
God damn! Look at that. Oh my God! Yes.
Man.
claimed your boots. I'll go get them for you.
Oh yes.
So cool, Guy Gardner.
So good.
I'm so passionate by the direction, most of all, from this trailer.
It's God. It looks like a comic book.
Right? I think James really nailing that comic booky, otherworldly, fun vibe from this trailer.
You
Yeah.
have a dog.
I cannot believe, Evan. I cannot believe that dog isn't real.
It's real.
It's real in my heart.
Isn't it real? Real?
No, it's a digital creation.
No, it's a real dog.
It's inspired by James Gunn's real life dog, but it's a CG creation.
What?
You didn't know that?
No.
I'm not pulling your chain here, man. I'm serious. I'm not laughing. I haven't broke yet, so I'm telling the truth.
I'm watching the trailer and I can't see your face. But you're what?
I'm not pulling your chain. I'm not breaking. Like I'm not laughing and like I'm
It was. I know it was inspired by James' real dog, but I thought they didn't have a dog on set at all.
No, this is a digital dog, and it looks so real.
Huh? I thought they had a dog on set. Okay.
I mean, his dog for reference, but no.
Yeah. But yeah, I love the. I'm sorry. Where'd I go? I love the. How do I describe it, man? It's like not. It's a comic booky feel to it, but the direction just seems so frantic, intense, high speed. It kind of, this is the same cinematographer from The Flash, but I think it's looking much more polished here. In terms of this cool comic booky lighting and the look and the direction of it all.
Yeah,
in particular,
it's quite exciting.
Yeah, like
that
everything.
Yeah, you gotta mute. Yeah, everything is such the biggest benefit that they have a full year to work on VFX before the release.
Yeah, they're not constantly changing everything here. Oh, do you hear the theory that this is Supergirl?
I did. I was going to bring it up. I'm interested.
I love that theory. I'm like, internet actually cooking for once.
That's a cool setup, especially to lead into her movie, because that's the next property, which is really interesting and brilliant that they're doing back-to-back Kryptonian stories.
I love that a lot. I mean, I'm not the biggest Supergirl fan. I don't read Supergirl comic books, but just in Supergirl animation, I love the aspect of Supergirl. I think she's very fascinating. Millie Alcock is perfectly cast as Supergirl. They had a very quick and well done production. No hiccups that I've seen at all. They've already done shooting. It's crazy how Supergirl comes out after Spider-Man and they already finished, and Spider-Man has not started filming yet. Wild.
That's wild. But also it's setting the standard for these properties that they're giving them the full year to complete the visuals and the editing and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. You have a full year from now until next June to work on VFX for Supergirl. But yeah, we see possibly her doing, I think, what do they call this? Big something in the trailer? I forget what it's called.
It's something with B, but I think I heard the theory that maybe Lex encases Kara into this armor and is making her do this, or she's brainwashed or something.
This would be really cool. This is straight off of My Adventures of Superman, right? In season 2, which also brainwashed by her. What was it, Brainiac in that season last time?
I'd have to go back.
It was some intellectual robot, which I thought was a great villain from last season. By the way, if people are not watching My Adventure with Superman, watch it. Last season 2 was really good.
Jack Quaid's such a good Superman.
Jack Quaid is really good. I like Kara and Lois. Kara and Lois.
Jimmy.
Kara and Jimmy. Kara and Jimmy was great together. But yeah, dude, this giving me Spider-Man 2 vibes. Of heroes getting saved by civilians. It's so It's so
you want to get to him, you gotta go
right. Gotta go through all of us. New York, baby.
As the first.
Thank you, Nathan. Nerd. But yeah, I love this. Yeah, Eyes Up Buddy. The way the camera follows him right here.
I like that he's so fast he beats the camera from the panel.
Yeah, right. And the camera's oh shit. It's so cool. Again, just great intensity that James bring to the direction here.
Totally.
So excited to see this. The Kryptonian segments, Lex coming in to attack. Lex is just so cool. I cannot wait to see his performance. I wanted more from him in this trailer, but I like his dialogue in the trailer. He's not him, he's it. The way he you just feel the spite in the dialogue. So good.
So good.
Great scene.
Man, love it.
Lois and Clark. Pa Kent's going to be really great in this. Love it already.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Good, cool Mr. Terrific scenes. Guy Gardner gets a cool scene. Superman. That is a great jacket, though. I like that. Or a good coat.
Does Nicholas Hoult naturally have blue eyes?
I think so.
Piercing. Yeah. I'm intrigued by like how much Paw is still alive in this journey.
Great point. Yeah, he should have already been dead, but yeah.
I also do
I
like
can't wait
the
to see more
beginning.
of the top.
Totally, absolutely. I also like the beginning of like the conversation that Clark and Lois were having and about like where Superman stands in representing just himself, trying to save anybody.
Right? Yeah, like I like it a lot. He's coming under fire for like, being in this middle of like this global war or, just like some international war. He's like, I'm just trying to save the world. I'm trying to save people. And I'm getting in
Yeah.
trouble for it. I gotta watch out for who I'm saving, basically. Like what? Like what's going on here?
Yeah,
I'm a superhero.
this is a key thing of what I loved in the Superman and Lois show, where Clark's humanity is on full display, both as a family man and as Superman. Whenever he's like talking about these instances, he's like, "I am just trying to save people." He does get emotional like this. He has had run-ins with the military leaders, just like, "You're like, hey, you saved like this Korean sub, but like you put it back on their shores," and I'm like, "Yeah, because I'm not working for America. I'm working for the world. I'm saving the world, not America."
Good. That's so good.
And things like that. It's great.
Oh, I love this scene of Lex, freaking out.
Yeah.
I remember in the first trailer, I'm like, what kicked Superman so badly that he got kicked all the way to his Kryptonian place? Like, oh, they must be giving him a run for his money here. But I love this shot. It's so goofy and cool and interesting. It's perfect. It's great.
I can't wait to see the build up to his rage at this level.
His freak out, right? Like, oh my god.
There was also
I love it.
There was also, I don't know if this was purposeful or if they just cut this for the trailer, but like Lois during the interview was like, "Did you get permission from the president?" And they show a shot of Lex, which could be alluding to the President Lex storyline if they want to do that in the future.
What shot of Lex is alluding to that?
Just to make it during the interview between Clark and Lois, she brings up the president, and they cut to a shot of Lex, just in his tower, just being Lex. But the fact that that line was dubbed over a shot of Lex led people to think, hey, maybe they're gonna do that President Lex storyline in the future.
Man, that could be possible. I would like that. Yeah, I wonder where's that scene at here, because it is a very cool shot.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Dun, 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 dun. I think President Lex would be very interesting. I'm just curious, when's the next time we're going to see Lex? Is Lex going to be as paramount in this entire DC universe as he is in the other DC universe?
I would be interested for this movie to end where Lex doesn't immediately go to prison. That he's
I would
like
that
still
as well. I agree.
Free. I don't think we just need to like throw him away.
Oh, you just consult with the president. Cut to Lex. I see now.
Yeah.
This is a great shot of like overconfident Lex. I like this a lot too.
Very good. There was also a scene, Metamorpho in Lockup. It looks like he is growing kryptonite out of his hand in one scene.
Is it kryptonite?
It looked like it. It's like, I think it's in the middle when they're like locked up. It's around when Lex is like, Superman's in it. Yeah, not that scene specifically, but it's
isn't it right
earlier.
here?
Not that one specifically. It's a little earlier. I think. Before. Yeah, right around there. Yeah, the 2-minute mark. Yeah, coming up.
Great call.
But I think it's also important. I think someone that also suggests they don't think Metamorpho is going to be a straight villain in this movie. He may actually be like a sympathetic character that Lex is using. No.
I like that a lot.
Mm.
Yeah, that could
Yeah.
be interesting. Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. Yeah, really cool. But okay, let's watch that Ironheart trailer.
Yeah, man.
Ugh.
All caps, Superman trailer.
Oh, by the way, I love how they're making this like Ryan Coogler's Ironheart.
You know what? Pull out every stop you can, man. I can't have another crash. I really can't. Miss Marvel got screwed by Obi-Wan. I can't do this again.
It's crazy because like Ryan Coogler, the guy, the hottest director. Who made
I
the
was
hottest movie
stunned.
right
I was
now.
like, why didn't you drop a credit for Sinners in this? Director of Sinners. Why didn't you say that?
Like, yeah, they went full on Black Panther, but yeah, I get it. It's Marvel.
Yeah, that's what they are.
But Nathan, I'm upset. They are trying to bury this show.
I won't let them.
It's only going to be 6 episodes, which I'm already like, oh boy.
Oh, only 6.
Only 6. So this is a figment of like previous overworked Feige, Disney, or Marvel leadership.
But I
because
believe in the
I don't even know who's working on it. I can't tell you the showrunner.
Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coogler, right? But I don't think he saw a script for this show.
Maybe he was the one to introduce Riri into the universe. I'm sure
they wanted him to. He didn't
sure, but like I bet he did it, and I think he did well.
I agree. Even though I don't think she was like extremely necessary, I still liked it.
You know, even the first Black Panther had like we also need you to put a Bucky post credit, and it's like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, he's a company man at times. But yeah, so 6 episodes, June 24th, I think is the release date. This is that Tuesday night before. Let me make sure this is a Tuesday night. Go and go on my Google Calendar. June 24th, Tuesday night. They are dropping 3 of the 6 episodes Tuesday night. Why?
What? Wait. What?
Yes.
3 episode premiere?
Yes.
Stop.
Yes.
Oh, fuck. God damn it.
They're burying this show.
They were like, I guess they want to beat the release of Fantastic Four. Release it earlier.
And guess what comes out the very next day? The 25th.
Oh, no. Oh, wait.
Every episode of The Bear season 4. One of the most highly, anticipated series for this summer. The Bear drops the very next day. Same company, Disney / Hulu. Wow.
Maybe we get like, okay. Well, no, because if that's just the whole conversation, then we're like already on episode 4 of Ironheart. Who's playing catch up after having already binged a season of The Bear? Oh, god damn it.
It's so messy. Because, it's like 3 episodes is already a lot for a 6 episode series. Was Miss Marvel 6 episodes as well? Maybe
I think 7. So. I feel like it was. My brain assumes everything's 8, but I think that was 6. Loki's has always been 6.
Loki was always 6.
Yeah, both seasons are 6 episodes.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Falcon Winter Soldier, I think, is also 6, right? It's either 6 or it could be 8. WandaVision got to 9.
Are you right? Yeah, Loki is 6. Wow. You're right. You never lie.
How long was Falcon?
Falcon and Winter Soldier is, drumroll please, 6 episodes.
Oh, wow. They gave a full 9 to WandaVision. It was like, don't need to do that again.
Miss Marvel, 6 episodes.
Wow. Hawkeye was 6.
So yeah, so this is again the limited series, early Disney run here, 6 episodes.
Moon Knight was 6.
But yeah, those other shows, I think Miss Marvel dropped, I think, the first 2 episodes, maybe just the first one. I don't know. But either way, it's just like, oh man, 3 episodes. So by the next week, we'll already be episode 4. It's ridiculous. And again, it's coming out before The Bear, which is going to dominate public conversation. instead of Ironheart. It's like, what are we doing here? Why are we doing this? Trying to bury this show.
Mm.
But let's watch this trailer. I think it's a solid. I don't love this trailer, but I think it's pretty solid. So I can't wait to watch it. We're just gonna watch it in mute because I'm an idiot. Just kidding. Here we go.
Surveillance. Yes.
He didn't show run the show.
Yes, he did. Shut up. Let the masses believe.
This is Escape Room, Ironheart.
For real?
Did you watch the Escape Room movies?
No. Was it some kind of tournament champion? Was it some kind of Avenger initiative?
You'll suffocate and die.
I love Anthony Ramos.
He's good. I think his best is in I never seen the live action Hamilton, but like
it's great. The Disney Plus show, it's really good.
I saw the special. I never watched the actual play itself. But
I mean that is the play.
I mean in stadium, whatever. It's a different vibe.
Sure.
But either way, I love him in the Heights.
So,
In the Heights.
you
Yes.
win or out?
I don't know what his hair is doing in this show, but
I think it's his natural hair.
is that?
I think so.
Waiting to be acknowledged for your greatness.
I love it. I love how practical the suits look.
I agree, dude.
The first genius at MIT.
I saw Civil War.
Working at one of those fancy tech firms.
After my internship abroad,
I saw Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever, guys.
Something
Ryan
Hell yeah.
Coogler's own.
iconic.
I can give you the tools to help you carry out your vision.
Like he looks sus.
But anyone
Yeah, but
anything
desperate times.
What's there to be desperate about? Just he wants to become like iconic, but you know,
Well, you think Riri can afford these tech?
true. Like you see her basking in the money, and then she's gonna be like, wait, what's this money all about?
You can chew. I can chew a lot.
Apparently, the girl is very famous. I don't know who she is.
God damn, those are good suits.
The suits look really cool. I agree.
These are big upgrades from the Wakanda suit she got.
You're gonna end up dead or in jail.
Cool.
We're getting that aspect of magic and mysticism with Ramos's character.
Apparently, his character usually has big ties to Doom. I don't know how far they'll go, but
I heard it was Mephisto and Doom. One of those two.
yeah.
This is wild. A shady bunker.
My bunker's not shady.
The
I love seeing all Ironheart, man.
All
It's
Ironheart is
literally
so
above a crate
good,
of
guys.
self-guided missiles.
I'm returning those.
This will be
People forget
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's playing the son of Obadiah Stane.
Yeah, he's playing Jack Stane. No, I'm kidding. I don't know his fucking
Jack Stane.
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel Stane. There you go.
Ezekiel Stane was in the very first Iron Man comic I read in 2008. The what was it called? I loved it because I went to the comic book shop. I was like, I love the Iron Man movie. Give me Iron Man comic book.
Here's Demon in a bottle.
The guy did not give me Demon.
Go
in a
reflect. Like
I was 12 years old. I'd be like, why are there so much text on this comic book page? But it was Matt Fraction's Iron Man run. I forget what it was called. I think Invincible Iron Man, I think it was called. Matt Fraction
title.
Yeah, it is a very good. Matt Fraction was like an early, like there was Brian Michael Bendis, and then there was like Matt Fraction because his Iron Man run was like so cool because it was really good. I liked it a lot.
Right on.
And then like I love the Spider-Gwen author, Jason something.
Derulo.
Yes, exactly.
I couldn't even keep a straight face saying that.
Remember when you wore that neck brace for like years? Anyways, it felt
Jason
like years.
Derulo?
Yes, remember that neck brace he had on?
No.
What? That was very funny.
I love them still cracking up over Jason Derulo. There's no reason.
Love.
Beautiful.
But yeah, it seems pretty cut and dry in terms of the story, right? Like she wants to become more of herself, possibly stemming from not only just like accomplishing more in life, and not only just proving more to herself, but probably like what happened in her past. she does have a very heartbreaking past about like a drive-by shooting, killing her best friend, and her wanting to be her using her genius to kind of like make sure, you know, it doesn't happen again.
Totally.
And yeah, it's a very heartbreaking origin for her. You know, all about like the dangers, like black neighborhoods in New York. I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
But also we're getting to Anthony Ramos's mysticism character, mixing mysticism with science a little bit. Hence the whole Doctor Doom of it all. We talked about him years because this show finished up like 3 years ago.
That's wild.
I think they finished filming like in 2023. Wow. Or 2022. Wait, yeah, Black Panther was 2022. I think she filmed Black Panther Wakanda Forever after or before. I forget. But I know Black Panther was 2022. And I swear to God, Ironheart finished like late 2022 or like early 2023. It's been a while.
They just wanted to finish the VFX, Evan.
Sure. But yeah, I think what the fuck? We talked about his character a lot back in the day. Like, I forget his name. Something. Is it just called the Hood?
Maybe just the Hood, Crimson Hood. I don't think it's Red Hood.
I think it's just the Hood.
Crimson Cowl. Is that it?
What?
Is it Crimson Cowl?
It's definitely not Crimson Cowl. What the fuck is Crimson Cowl?
All right, fine.
The Hood. The Hood.
Passive aggressive.
Yeah, I just looked it up. So yeah, he's playing the Hood, magic, invisibility, hence the whole invisibility thing here.
Now, who the fuck is the Crimson Cowl? And I gotta look it up.
You tell me.
That shit isn't real, is it?
I don't know who the fuck you're talking about, dude. That's some DC shit.
Hold on. Wait.
Tell me.
I'm cooking.
Are you?
Okay, hold on, Evan. The Crimson Cowl is a recurring villain in Marvel Comics. And looks fucking like this, so don't fucking tell me.
Wait, I can't see it. Oh. Okay, yes, I see that now.
You could understand.
No.
What I was saying.
No.
Wait, no, I'm sorry. I think if I'm remembering correctly, yes, that's right. Crimson Cowl was like the fucking hidden alias of Ultron. Ultron was under the hood. That was the big reveal of the Crimson Cowl. That's what it was. I'm crosswiring my fucking 10-year-old theory information.
Cool.
Great.
No. Never mind. I'm going off topic. But Are
you okay?
You know the bug I killed like an hour ago, 2 hours ago now, is off my table. I'm like, is it on my hand?
You inhaled it.
Maybe I just inhaled it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it just fell off my table. Anyways, the Hood is a well-known figure in the New York criminal underworld. Connections to mysticism. We see him growing on his back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
In this trailer, I forget when, but yeah.
Maybe Tommy will show.
What?
Tommy from Agatha, not from The Last of Us.
I'm like, wait, what?
I knew as soon as I said it, I was like, hold on.
I can't find it, and I'm too lazy to find it. Oh, there it is. I'm not too lazy. Maybe it's just a tattoo. Maybe it's just a work of art.
Just stick tats, man.
Yeah. But yeah, this show looks it looks fun.
Fantastic. Let's encourage it. Everybody should watch it, and if you don't, you are racist, and that's
bingo.
Really fine. If you want to live with it, fine. If you want to live with
it, it brings us back to that topic of media literacy. You can probably have problem with the show, but if your problem with the show are that she's a woman and she's black, then you're a dumbass.
Even when they make the argument of just like it's just a DEI hire, I'm like, well, okay, what's wrong with that? Right. You want to explain what's wrong with that?
Yeah. Well, it should be equal opportunity, right? Like nothing's ever equal opportunity. Anyway.
And what is this? It's just shoehorn. I hate you.
Gosh, so annoying. But yeah, I'm excited for Alden and
totally
Dominique. Is that her name? Dominique, the main actress?
Yeah, Dominique Thorne.
Yeah, she's really good. I'm and like the actors are always going to be very fun. I think it's not going to be the most complex or whatever series. But I'm hopeful for a fun time. I think the Ironheart character is very interesting. With this show dropping so sporadically, man, I don't know. What do you think the future plans are for Ironheart? He's not going to be part of the Champions
I would
slash
think
Young
she would
Avengers.
be. I think she
You
could
think
be.
you think she will be?
I think she will be. She's like the same age as Kate.
I agree. I just when I think about that team, I don't think of Ironheart, but I hope so. I hope so.
I think
Maybe
every young, like very young hero, bar Peter Parker, is going to be a running Avengers champion. Well, actually, I mean, fucking, with how insane the rollout leading into Doomsday and Secret Wars is going to be, we're, thinking they're going to do the full universe reboot post Secret Wars, and I think we'll have different subdivisions of teams all laid out throughout. So we'll have X-Men, Fantastic Four. Here's the Avengers. Here's a West Coast Avengers, which could maybe be the Thunderbolts team. Here's the Champions, which is the Young Avengers. We could actually call them Young Avengers now. I don't know. We could just have different sub-level Avengers. I know they want to have different customized names to like differentiate, but I think it could all just be of equal plating.
you're saying this after Secret Wars? What you said?
Yeah, in regards to just like the team names, but I think they'll all be a part of teams, and I think Ironheart will be in the Young Avenger category.
Yeah, I think they're just going to call it Champions. This was one way to just not make it confusing, and not get Sam upset and copyright strike you guys like he did Thunderbolts.
Copyright strike from Sam sounds insane.
Yeah. What do you say? He's suing them for their new Avengers title?
He might be suing. He made it. He copyrighted. I don't think he's full on suing, but he is like, you can't keep going.
I think Kamala and Kate can be like, well, you know what? We're just gonna call ourselves the Champions versus the Young Avengers.
I genuinely like that theory of coming up with that name because of the copyright issue. That's fun to me.
Sam's like, I got my lawyers on your ass, Kamala. Fuck you.
Wild. I gotta get Dare. She's got to call Daredevil in for the lawsuit.
Master, like, that's your problem, Kamala. I already saved your dad twice. I'm done.
No. We're teeing that up. He's gonna have dinner in Jersey.
Matt's like, fuck you guys. I don't like your food. I'm kidding.
Matt's
not racist.
Matt went through the void. He's going through it.
Yeah, right. Matt went through the void. Every nerd character went through the void.
They did. You can't tell me they didn't.
Maybe he was in Jersey.
Were they taking a nap? It was a nightmare.
Yeah. That's about it. Did we talk about Jessica Jones coming to Daredevil? Did we do that already?
No.
But she's coming to Daredevil. Confirmed.
Oh, that's fuck! Nice. I think that's great. I think we kind of assumed that would come.
Like, out of all the ones we talked about, like, that makes the most sense out of anybody. We knew it just wasn't going to be Cops and Karen.
There was a great rollout, which was like an overload of just, theory building on top of theory building, which was there was a little event, I think it was a Comic-Con type event with Jessica Henwick and Iron Fist actor Finn Jones. They were together again, and they were posting about it. And then on the Instagram post, it was liked by Mike Coulter, liked the photo, and then there was a comment from Kristen Ritter, and everyone was like, "They're all coming back," and I would like that. I would love that. I would love that so much.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Again, Kristen Ritter was the easiest to get, and it made the most sense.
Sonic 3-star Kristen Ritter.
I hate you.
I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong. But I can't wait to see Jessica again. I love Jessica so much. She's a great character. I'll love Mike Porter to come back. I don't know what he's up to. I'll love for Jessica. What's her name?
Jessica Henwick.
Henwick to come back. Thank you. Finn Jones, take your time. But I'm willing to give him the second chance.
He wants to put in the work.
Cool.
To fucking be, you fucking look, man. They jumped
in the work. It's too bad.
Too bad. Why? It's not his fault, really. It's the script.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Why?
Let's go with that.
Why are you?
Yeah, I love fucking with Finn. What are you gonna do, Finn? Come on the podcast, Finn. Like and subscribe, Finn.
What the fuck?
I don't know. I
So
don't know.
passive, we're never gonna hit Finn Jones now.
You think his agent's listening to 2 hours and 29 minutes of our podcast?
I think if we ever blow up one day, someone will comb through and find this.
I hope they do.
That'd be wild. There's certainly been some questionable things said in the 400 streams we've done combined.
A lot of Star Wars podcasters made their way to Lucasfilm Sound over the weekend, or Lucasfilm Ranch over the weekend to watch Andor and watch Rogue One. And I'm like, how come Hyperspace Hype wasn't invited? You know,
Evan, I think we need to start.
what?
I think we need to start acting like this is the
What?
first time we're watching a property of Star Wars, and we need to be stunned. Which I love seeing these, but like we're not going to get in unless we've never seen Star Wars before.
What do you? But a lot of Star Wars podcasts have been like, you know, Sky Talkers went there. But what's the difference between us and them?
We need to talk with Alden more, and we need to get connected with Star Wars Explained. We're literally 1 degree away from Star Wars Explained.
A couple of degrees, but
Couple. We love them. They're fantastic.
yeah, a couple thousand subscribers away.
I meant by knowing people. I mean by sub counts.
Gotcha. I think you meant like notoriety.
The fame, the notoriety.
Yeah. But you can find me on Twitter. That's about it. Harris EV9. Next week, we're going to dive deep into the finale of Last of Us. Probably going to be a 3-hour episode. 3-hour podcast, I mean. And then tomorrow, this Wednesday, we're getting trailers for It, the Welcome to Derry show coming out this week.
Wow.
New Jurassic World trailer is dropping this week as well.
That's right.
And there's something else I'm missing. It, Jurassic World, something else is coming. I don't know. I'm blanking right now. But there's a third trailer coming that we're going to talk about once I remember it.
Mission Impossible 9.
Exactly. So
He's going to play for an 8.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk about Final Destination. I saw that over the weekend. Fun, very fun movie.
Haven't seen it yet. I will try to. I'm going to try to squeeze in with a Mission and Lilo and Stitch.
Nice. So yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. Man, are we going to have to do
triple play?
Like, how long should our podcast be next week? Because like we could do a Last of Us review, but it's going to be long as hell. Like
what we should do is like day after Last of Us, we'll commit to Last of Us. Let's just commit to Last of Us, and then we'll do a follow up like Thursday, Friday stream on T for the rest of that. We'll do the trailers and we'll do the movies.
Gotcha.
I think if we have time after Last of Us, we can fit in the trailers, and then we'll do
today.
Yeah, and then we'll
do a movie review with Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch. Perfect.
And whatever other news may drop. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Bingo. See how we do that, guys? Live on air.
Live.
That's how we do it.
In stereo.
In stereo.
But
yeah, that's about it.
Can I binge Final Destination 2 through 5 and also Mission 1 through 6? 1 through 7.
No, you can't.
We have to do the commentary this week for Mission.
Let's do
just tomorrow. Yeah.
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning tomorrow. I'm watching Fallout tonight. Or I watched part of it tonight. I'm tired.
Yeah. I won't do the rewatches. I'm not out of time.
I did Mission Impossible 1 on Friday. I did 1 on Saturday. And then I jumped to the Macquarie saga. So I just did 1, and then I did
Evan's Rabbit's Foot.
Rogue Nation on Sunday, and Fallout tonight, and then Dead Reckoning tomorrow. I skipped 2 because I like 2 has always been that irrelevant one. 3 is the Rabbit's Foot, which is already in the trailer. But I watched 3 a lot, so I'm good. I watched all of these a lot. I'm good. But I heard the movie is paramount to like Christopher McQuarrie's own films, and 1, hence the knife scene, and they're bringing back the guy that was at the knock list sequence that like missed it, missed Cruz, and then I don't know how they're bringing back Rabbit's Foot at all. That's astonishing to me how that's in the trailer. And then Ghost Protocol has always been also similar to 2. But in a fun way. It's like kind of like not irrelevant, but just like not super connected. But then 5, 6, 7 are all just amazing movies. Rogue Nation is just so good. And Fallout is like one of my favorite action movies of all time. Definitely the best of this past 20 years, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Only competition being like Fury Road. But I think Fallout's better than Fury Road. I'll put Rogue Nation above Fury Road, to be honest.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, that's about it for me. This is my last week of school, guys. I'll be free, man, starting on Friday. Yeah.
A new man, so to speak.
Yes.
I love the Matrix. You follow me at _TimeBlazer, make a show called Time Blazer with co-star and critic consultant Evan Harris.
Playing Ben, who is also a free man. Right, Nathan?
Yeah, he is, yes. I was trying to remember. That fucking Agent Smith quote is so good, but I can't remember. Anyway, if you guys enjoy, make sure to subscribe now, ring the bell. So we coverage on all things movie and TV and game. And that
Renew the Acolyte.
Renew the Acolyte. Save the Acolyte. Always in the description. I hope you have a great day. Catch you guys next time.